When Xianfeng, Immortal Emperor, grabbed over, Yimo punched out, shatter sky. When Xianfeng, Immortal Emperor, grabbed over, Yimo punched out, shatter sky. The instant of that punch, all sorts of sword rays and lightning arcs were drawn over, forming multiple space lethal force whirlpool. The nearby Immortal Emperors saw Yimo release God Art, and their faces immediately changed. Xianfeng, Immortal Emperor's complexion also changed. After an explosion, Xianfeng, Immortal Emperor's giant hand was torn to pieces while he was forced back 100 meters away. His purple immortal robes were torn too. Wu Hui looked and sneered. He was certain that if Xianfeng, Immortal Emperor, encountered Yimo alone, with Yimo's madman character, he would definitely stick to Xianfeng till the end. Xianfeng, Immortal Emperor, looked furiously at where Yimo stood. There was only an immortal essence whirlpool there, while Yimo had long left and disappeared. In this space, he couldn't use his spirit sense to find where Yimo was. And he knew that it wasn't plausible to capture an immortal god body, Immortal King here. Good capabilities? Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor, applauded to himself. Zheng Run, Immortal Emperor, looked in shock at where Yimo disappeared. He finally realized why Yimo could hunt Wu Hui, Immortal Emperor, everywhere. Zheng Run, Immortal Emperor, subconsciously looked at Xianfeng, Immortal Emperor, and sneered to himself. This guy took the lead to stop Yimo. If he encountered Yimo in here in the future, he would surely have trouble. Everyone knew Yimo took the Wuchen fruit, but they knew it was impossible to catch Yimo in here unless it was someone of the level of the 4 Grand Emperors. Yimo wasn't worried that Xianfeng, Immortal Emperor, would come chase him. In this dimension, he wouldn't care about an ordinary Immortal Emperor middle stage like Xianfeng. Just as he guessed, Xianfeng, Immortal Emperor, didn't chase him. Yimo had decided to find immortal ranges here first, since there were ample of them here, and then go into solitary cultivation. 4 months later, Yimo stopped searching and went to a far-off place before going underground and going into the Golden Page world. In this 4 months, he didn't find any way out, but he collected 1 extreme grade immortal range, 12 top grade immortal range, 6 middle grade immortal range, and 9 low grade immortal range. He also saw another Wu Chun fruit and chased it for a while before giving up. Yimo knew that with his current power, it was impossible to catch Wuchen fruit. Last time, he caught it purely due to luck. With large amounts of immortal range here, Yimo was very satisfied. Extreme Great Immortal Range was rare, but had 4 in his hands now. He went into the Golden Page world now to go into solitary cultivation. Yimo was certain that in this dimension, he was the weakest. No matter if he could leave this dimension or not, Yimo felt the most important thing for him to do was increase his power. Small Ginseng had no battle power and couldn't help. Shadowless was still asleep, but feeling the chi coming from him. Yimo felt that when Shadowless woke up, he would reach Immortal Tao. Yimo used a top-grade Immortal Range next to the Bitter Bamboo to set up the Immortal Spirit Gathering Formation and Time Formation Disc before dragging out an extreme Great Immortal Range to cultivate. Time flew by in the Time Formation Disc's solitary cultivation. Immortal Range were used up by Yimo and turned into dust. He consumed many Immortal Pills. His Immortal Essence level grew slowly. This slow was only relative to Yimo. The Time Formation Disc was used continuously for 12 years. When more than half of Yimo's Immortal Range turned to dust, he was Immortal King peak stage power. Only the most talented Immortal King and Immortal Monarch didn't need any supplementary pills. Ordinary Immortal King and Immortal Monarch needed supplementary pills. Yimo's talent wasn't too good. Not only did the 3 birth chant require large amounts of resources, but the cultivation method derived with 3 birth chant also required large amounts of resources. Yimo needed Monarch will pill to break through to Immortal Monarch. Yimo had the supplementary herbs for Monarch will pill, but he didn't have the main Immortal Spirit Herb Jade Flow Void Mood. Yimo had decided to go out to search for Immortal Range and find a way to leave. If he didn't leave here, he wouldn't be able to reach Immortal Monarch. Plus, with Yimo's current pill concoction skills, even if he got a Jade Flow Void Wood, he might not be able to concoct Monarch will pill. That pill was level 8 immortal pill. Level 8 immortal spirit herb was rare, and if he didn't have enough to practice, he didn't dare to casually concoct monarchical pill. Returning to this lethal force space, Yemo started searching for small ginseng again. The benefit of small ginseng to him was immeasurable. A month later, Yemo found another 4 top-grade small ginseng, but at this moment, he felt Shadowless had woken up. Feeling Yemo's will, Shadowless charged out of the golden page world immediately. Shadowless landed, and its 2 wings flapped immediately. Immortal essence flow immediately sweep the beam and flames to the side. Yemo didn't need to look to know that Yemo really broke through this time. As expected, the first thing Shadowless said was, "Boss, I already reach Immortal Tao." Yemo nodded with satisfaction and asked, "What powers do you have now? Don't be like last time when you can't even deal with Kaime's Blood River." Shadowless didn't seem ashamed at all. He gloated now. "I can devour domain, Goddard. Immortal King is only food for me. Immortal Monarch I can devour in one mouth if his bones aren't hard." "What? You can devour domain and Goddard?" Yemo asked in shock. "Of course, but if an immortal emperor forms realm domain, I don't know if I can," Shadowless said. Yemo waved his hand. "I haven't even seen an immortal emperor with realm domain. Don't worry. Those few immortal emperors I saw before are all-powerful immortal emperor domain. At most, they have the primal form of realm domain. If you can devour immortal emperor domain and ordinary god art, and I reach immortal monarch, then we don't need to fear anyone here." "Boss, what is this place? Why are there so many random things?" Shadowless's powerful body was on par with Yemo's immortal god body. "This is a dimension next to the one we were at before. I don't know exactly what this place is, but there are large amounts of immortal range. I reached Immortal King Peak stage due to these immortal ranges." Yemo said, "That's good, call small ginseng out. We'll go find immortal range." Shadowless said excitedly. Yemo replied, "Small ginseng can't come out to this dimension. See if you can find it. Of course, although my nose isn't as good as small ginseng, it's easy job to find a few immortal range." Shadowless immediately said, hearing that he was doing something small ginseng was good at. Shadowless didn't bluff. Yemo took more than a month to find a few top-grade immortal range, but Shadowless found an extreme-grade immortal range in 3 days. Shadowless didn't bluff. Yemo took more than a month to find a few top-grade immortal range, but Shadowless found an extreme-grade immortal range in 3 days. After following Shadowless for a few days, Yemo realized that not all immortal ranges were like Yichong said. There were also immortal ranges in ordinary places, and usually these immortal ranges were pure. This day, Shadowless brought Yemo to a new place. Yemo just dug an extreme-grade immortal range, and a dashing light landed before Yemo. "It's you." A middle-aged immortal emperor appeared before Yemo. He immediately recognized who Yemo was. The next moment, his eyes landed on Shadowless. And moments later, he immediately said, "So it's you?" These 2 questions made Yemo confused. He understood the first one, as this immortal emperor was one of the immortal emperors chasing the Wuchen fruit. But what did the second question mean? Yemo wasn't scared of this immortal emperor middle stage. His cultivation level broke through, and Shadowless reached Immortal Tao. Seeing Yemo not understand him, but not become scared of him either, this immortal emperor wasn't surprised. After Yemo ran off, he knew from Zhongren Immortal Emperor about how Yemo hunted Wuhui Immortal Emperor. An immortal king hunting an immortal emperor. This news was way too shocking. Even in this dimension, it was very rare. Is your cultivation level Immortal King middle stage or tertiary stage? This immortal emperor looked at Yemo in shock. He felt last time Yemo was Immortal King middle stage, but now he saw Yemo was Immortal King tertiary stage. Yemo hit his power level to Immortal King middle stage and said, "Just think I'm an Immortal King middle stage." Seeing Yemo hide his cultivation level, this immortal emperor's eyes narrowed. This was definitely the top-level stealth cultivation method. This Yemo wasn't an Immortal King middle stage at all. He might even be Immortal Monarch power. An extremely powerful, immortal monarch with a mortal god body could indeed hunt an ordinary immortal emperor primary stage in this place. If Yemo was an immortal monarch, then how could he enter the small heaven domain last time? Thinking about this, the immortal emperor saluted with his fists. "My name is Ji Lei. I come from Tanshur heaven." "You must be very confused about the second. So it's you?" "That's because when the small heaven domain opened up, I was there too. Many people who came out formed the small heaven domain, saw your dragon horse pet." Yemo realized, but he didn't care. In this place, he needed Shadowless to help him. Hiding Shadowless wasn't plausible. He was about to reach Immortal Monarch. Once he did, he would use large sums of immortal range to reach Immortal Monarch tertiary stage. Then with Shadowless's help, he wouldn't fear ordinary immortal emperors even outside. Yemo greet, "Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor. This immortal pet is given to me by my friend Ning Xiaoma." My friend indeed went to small heaven domain. He's in solitary cultivation to break through to Immortal King, so this immortal pet is following me now. Yemo said. Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor, didn't argue and smiled. "You still have some distance till Immortal Emperor, right? Wuchen fruit is used by Immortal Emperor tertiary stage, or even Immortal King peak stage." "You want my Wuchen fruit?" Yemo asked plainly. Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor, said without hesitation, "That's right, I want it indeed. If it was some ordinary person, I would have robbed it already, but I know it's not too practicable, so name a price. I'll see if I can afford it." Yemo smiled. Any Immortal Emperor who saw an Immortal King had a Wuchen fruit would rob it. To be honest, Yemo didn't need the Wuchen fruit that much. He took the fruit out in the Golden Page world. It had this ethereal Tao wave that was indeed helpful in being enlightened for a new state. It was similar to bitter bamboo. I don't know the price of it very well, but I know that immortal emperors need this, and I don't really happen to need it. If you want it, then name a suitable price, and I'll think about it. Yemo said. Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor, said without hesitation, "I'll pay 10 extreme grade immortal range and 20 top grade immortal range." To be honest, this price was very high. If it was outside, even he wouldn't be able to afford it. Extreme grade immortal range. Even an Emperor sect only had a few. Only a Divine Emperor would be able to suddenly pay out 10. If the Wuchen fruit could really help with Tao Vindication, then it wasn't expensive even if it was 10 times higher. Yemo didn't really want Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor, to take out 10 times that price, but he shook his head. "Your price is a bit low. I don't really care about that 30 immortal range, but I need 100 level 8 immortal spirit herb and 2 jade flow void wood." "You're really an Immortal King?" Hearing this, Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor, immediately asked in shock. Only an Immortal King would want the jade flow void wood for the monarchical pill. Yemo shook his head. "Whether or not I'm Immortal King is not the main point. The main point is my friend is in solitary cultivation and about to reach Immortal King. I need to prepare that for him. If you can afford it, then we can make a deal immediately." Ji Lei knew that the things Yemo added wasn't very expensive compared to the Wuchen fruit, but he couldn't take out Jade Flow Voidwood now. Seeing Ji Lei's expression, Yemo knew he couldn't take it out, so Yemo saluted with his fists and said, "In that case, I'm going first." "Wait!" Ji Lei quickly called. Yemo's face sunk. Does Brother Ji Lei want to use force? An Immortal King calling an Immortal Emperor brother. Probably only someone like Yemo could do this, but Ji Lei quickly said no. "Can you wait for me here for 2 days? I'll come back and deal with you 2 days later." "You guys have a set location?" Yemo asked. Ji Lei knew it was impossible to trick Yemo on this, so he immediately said, "That's right, we found a palace without the dangers. People can cultivate in there. Most of the immortal emperors who came in are there unless they go out to search for immortal range. Just wait for me for 2 days, and I can help ask if anyone has the wood." He knew Yemo was definitely not going to go with him to that palace, so he didn't bother asking. "Okay, this is my communication bead. 2 days later, contact me." Yemo threw a communication bead to Ji Lei and left. He wasn't going to meet those immortal emperor no matter what unless he reached Immortal Monarch. Ji Lei was more desperate than Yemo. He was scared that Yemo would encounter other immortal emperor and trade with them instead. In less than 2 days, Yemo received Ji Lei Immortal Emperor's news. You found what I want this quickly? Yemo asked in confusion. His spirit sense saw that Ji Lei came alone indeed, but Yemo felt a strange atmosphere. Ji Lei threw out a storage ring to Yemo. Yemo's spirit sense scanned inside, and there were 10 extreme grade immortal range, 20 top grade immortal range, and 130 level 8 immortal spirit herb, 1 jade flow void wood. I only found 1 jade flow void wood, but I got 30 more level 8 immortal spirit herb. Is this okay? Ji Lei stared at Yemo and asked. Yemo suppressed his joy and nodded, okay. I agree. Then, Yemo threw out a jade box at Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor. But before it landed in Ji Lei's hands, a black figure swept past, and the jade box disappeared. Li Long, you old bastard. Ji Lei's face went pale and cursed. Yemo breathed easy. No wonder he felt someone watching. There really was an immortal emperor hiding on the side. Yemo breathed easy. No wonder he felt someone was watching. There was an immortal emperor hiding on the side. He felt even more how low his power was. Someone was hiding on the side, and he didn't even know about it. Little did Yemo know that Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor, didn't know he was here too. Yemo breathed easy. No wonder he felt someone was watching. There was an immortal emperor hiding on the side. He felt even more how low his power was. Someone was hiding on the side, and he didn't even know about it. Little did Yemo know that Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor, didn't know he was here too. Yemo, you took out the jade box. Can you trace the jade box and help me catch up to that bastard based on the chi? If you can help me catch up to Li Long, Immortal Emperor, I'm willing to pay you more. Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor, turned and saluted with his fists to Yemo. Hearing this, Yemo's impression of Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor, changed greatly. He thought that Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor, would regret the deal, but instead he just asked for help. If Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor, changed his mind, then Yemo would not only not give back the dustless fruit, but instead would try the combined power of him and Shadowless. This is dustless fruit. Pity I don't have time now. If I do, I don't mind taking out that guy. Yemo took out another jade box and gave it to Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor. Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor, dazed for a moment. Then he reacted and said with surprise and joy, the dustless fruit wasn't taken away? Just the... Yemo sneered. What thing is Li Long? He dares to dream of stealing dustless fruit from my hands. Yemo was not bluffing. He got jade flow void wood. The first thing he was going to do wasn't find trouble with Li Long, Immortal Emperor, but to concoct Monarchal pill and prepare for Immortal Monarch breakthrough. Once he reached Immortal Monarch, his power would be much, much stronger. Other people may need tens of thousands of years, or even millions of years to reach Immortal Monarch from Immortal King, but he only needed a few thousand years. Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor, took the jade box in surprise and joy. He didn't expect Yemo didn't take out the real dustless fruit the first time and now gave the real one to him. Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor, scanned with spirit sense and saw that this was the real dustless fruit. With this, he no longer had the mood to go after Li Long, Immortal Emperor. Thank you, Sect Leader Yi. Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor, thanked. Suddenly he felt a little cold. Li Long was hiding on the side, and he didn't realize. Yemo threw a fake jade box at him clearly, because Yemo had already noticed Li Long. Luckily, he didn't plan on coercing Yemo. If he really did, he would probably be in Wu Hui, Immortal Emperor's shoes. Yemo smiled. No need. This is what you deserve. This sounded like the words of a Qian Bei to a Wan Bei, but Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor, didn't feel offended at all. Yemo really had the right to say such words. It seemed this sect leader, Yi, was a very characteristic person. Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor, had some understanding of Yemo's character now. Seeing that Yemo was about to go, Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor, suddenly said, Sect Leader Yi, the person who just left is Fun Du Heaven East Abyss Emperor Sect Li Long, Immortal Emperor. In the Qingwei Heaven, he knew that your friend Ning Xiaoma killed his disciple Fu Xingxing, and he knows that Ning Xiaoma has a dragon horse. He definitely saw the dragon horse just then, but he didn't attack, probably because he didn't want more trouble when taking the dustless fruit. You need to be careful if you encounter him again. Yemo nodded. Okay. Thank you, Ji-Lei, Immortal Emperor. Ji-Lei, Immortal Emperor, continued. When we went into the small world, a purple-robed Immortal Emperor also was looking for your friend Ning Xiaoma. Then Ji-Lei, Immortal Emperor, marked a crystal ball and gave it to Yemo, and then gave him a jade slip. The crystal ball has the appearance of that purple-robed Immortal Emperor. This jade slip is a simple map which has the location of that palace I spoke of. That palace is the exit. When you're stronger, you can go have a look. Goodbye. Then Ji-Lei turned to leave, soon disappearing. Yemo scanned his spirit sense into the crystal ball and indeed saw a purple-robed man. Without a doubt, this guy was the guy who pretended to be an immortal monarch and also had the 5-stone stool. Putting the crystal ball away, Yemo took out the jade slip and had a look. Yemo happily put it away soon while thinking that there were still some nice people. He didn't let Ji-Lei, Immortal Emperor, suffer a loss, so he immediately got some news that he needed desperately. The only thing Yemo needed to do now was to go into solitary cultivation and cultivate. As for going out, it was not so much a rush for him now. Yemo realized that his secret was exposed. That purple-robed Immortal Emperor knew that the other stone stools were with Ning Xiaoma, which was him. The dragon horse belonged to Ning Xiaoma, but now appeared with him, so when he went out, he had to be able to take on that purple-robed Immortal Emperor, or it would be suicide. According to his estimate, even if he reached Immortal Monarch, he was probably no match for Immortal Emperor tertiary stage outside. Yemo sighed. He just hoped no one could leave this dimension. That way, news of him wouldn't be exposed. He found another place to go into the Golden Page world and started his second solitary cultivation. This time, it was for pill concoction. He had some level 8 Immortal Spirit Herb already, and now he got another 100 or so. His only goal right now was to reach level 8 Immortal Pill Grandmaster. Level 7 and level 8 Immortal Spirit Herb turned to dust rapidly or was turned into pills. His Immortal Spirit Herb was limited, so every cauldron of level 8 Immortal Pills, he would stop to analyze for a few days to find his mistakes before continuing. 6 months later, Yemo could concoct ordinary level 8 Immortal Spirit Herbs. 1 year later, he could concoct top-grade level 8 Immortal Pills. 2 years later, Yemo used more than 90% of the level 8 Immortal Spirit Herbs and had complete mastery over level 8 Immortal Pills. Only then did he start concocting Monarchical Pill. With 2 years of preparation, Yemo succeeded without any incidents. He got 12 pills, 10 special grade, and 2 top grade. Yemo was very happy with this result. It was his first time concocting Monarchical Pill after all. After this, he immediately went out to prepare for Immortal Monarch Breakthrough. There were lightning arcs, sword rays, flames, asteroids all over this dimension. It could be said that no one wants to have divine damnation here. Not even Yemo, but Yemo knew he had no choice. Luckily, he was a mortal god body, so it didn't affect much. This dimension was ravaged with lethality, but the immortal spirit chi was dense. Yemo threw down an extreme great immortal range to set up spirit gathering immortal formation. Yemo didn't even set up a defense formation in this place, and started to use 3 birth chant to charge at the immortal monarch barrier. Yemo swept all the immortal spirit chi over, forming a huge immortal spirit chi cloud above his head. The immortal spirit chi cloud came in circles and was constantly pierced by all sorts of lightning arcs and sword rays, but it was getting denser and denser. Yemo didn't feel it at all. He just kept devouring the nearby immortal spirit chi outside the spirit gathering immortal formation. Shadowless looked around carefully. As Yemo ate a top-grade monarchical pill, more immortal spirit chi was swept over, forming an extremely huge immortal spirit chi mist whirlpool. When Yemo felt his immortal essence was at the immortal monarch barrier, he didn't hesitate at all and ate another special grade monarchical pill. The rushing immortal essence swept with even greater force under the monarchical pill and smashed at the immortal monarch barrier. When Yemo felt his immortal essence was at the immortal monarch barrier, he didn't hesitate at all and ate another special-grade monarchical pill. The rushing immortal essence swept with even greater force under the monarchical pill and smashed at the immortal monarch barrier. Rumble! In the gray void, crackling sounds came. When Yemo's immortal essence charged at the immortal monarch barrier for the first time, the first wave of immortal monarch divine damnation came. 108 golden lightning arcs, thicker than wooden buckets, smashed down from all directions. The 108 arcs almost completely covered this dimension, turning into a sea of gold. Meanwhile, the lightning arcs and space rays were long gone. With his previous experience of lightning arc smashing out from underground, Yemo didn't stay on the ground and instead rose up while smashing out space shatter. Yemo's space shatter first fused from the 9 void fists. This time, Yemo didn't use any defense immortal artifact. He believed his immortal god body was enough to deal with it. His divine damnation was absurd, but his power was even more absurd. He didn't believe that an immortal god body couldn't withstand to a divine damnation. His immortal god body was theoretically as tough as extreme grade immortal artifact. With his immortal essence flowing in his body, it would be stronger than extreme grade immortal artifacts. Crack! This time, Yemo's space shatter didn't sweep up lethal force, but instead was purely aimed at the lightning arcs. So this time, it attacked very fast. Arcs of lightning were crippled and destroyed by Yemo. In that instance, golden rays spilled everywhere in this place. More lightning struck on Yemo's body, and his skin immediately cracked open. Cracking sounds came from his bones. The power and recovery of the immortal god body was fully showcased now. Then, with his rapid devouring of lightning source, the injuries quickly recovered while his immortal essence and spirit sense rose drastically. What shook Yemo was that this time, lightning didn't come from underground, but like last time, the second wave of 108 arcs came before the first wave was even over. Before Yemo could even keep using space shatter, the second wave struck him. Almost at the same time, Yemo felt his meridians expand and a powerful, immortal essence arose. Yemo knew that just when the second wave came, his immortal essence broke through the immortal monarch barrier. The second wave provided him with lightning source to devour. Knowing that he broke through, there was no more lightning arcs. Yemo ran the 3-birth chant like crazy as he devoured the lightning source. Powerful lightning source and dense immortal spirit chi was devoured by Yemo like crazy. Yemo felt like his cultivation level was skyrocketing. His immortal monarch power started to consolidate, and the bones that were broken recovered perfectly. Rumble! The third wave of lightning arc fell. Yemo thought there wouldn't be anything in the third wave, but instead, there were still 27 bolts of golden lightning in the third wave. They were about double the size of the second wave. But such lightning bolts really couldn't do any damage to Yemo now. Yemo had reached immortal monarch. These lightning bolts would only help him cultivate. But then, the fourth wave landed, the fifth. What shocked Yemo was that 9 waves of lightning bolts fell before this space of gold dissipated. This divine damnation was unlike before. It was a complete divine damnation. Other than the first and second wave, which had 108 bolts, the rest all had 27 bolts. After the divine damnation, no immortal spirit chi cloud came, just as Yemo expected. Yemo didn't care. He was used to it now, feeling the immortal essence and spirit sense that was many times more powerful than Immortal King tertiary stage. Yemo knew that he finally had a foundation. After taking a long sigh, Yemo felt even more how powerful the cultivation method from the Golden Page world was. Its power wasn't something that humans could fathom. If he didn't cultivate 3-birth chant, it would be pathetic to fight Immortal Emperor with Immortal King and Immortal Monarch power. However, the 3-birth chant did it. Yemo cleansed himself and changed into a new set of clothes. Suddenly, he had this enlightenment. Transmission God art? There were 9 levels. The first level could move tens of thousands of miles. It was much more powerful than instant transmission. Instant transmission would cause huge space ripples and could only move 1 to 2,000 kilometers. It was too short. When Yemo was certain that he learned transmission god art, he was overjoyed. He didn't expect that there would be this bonus god art after reaching Immortal Monarch. This god art was the most practicable god art to him. Once he reached higher level of transmission god art, even if he was no match for the enemy, he would be able to get away. Yemo suppressed his joy and put away the immortal range and formation flags before going back in the Golden Page world. Yemo was certain now that if he encountered Wuhue, Immortal Emperor, he would be able to kill him. If he encountered Wuhue, Immortal Emperor outside, he wouldn't lose with Shadowless's support. But Yemo knew that Wuhue, Immortal Emperor, was the weakest amongst Immortal Emperor. Immortal Emperor primary stage and didn't have a powerful god art. His power was worth nothing. He might need to face Wuing, Immortal Emperor, and that purple-robed Immortal Emperor on his way out. These guys were Immortal Emperor tertiary stage, or even peak stage. So, Yemo went back into the Golden Page world for solitary cultivation immediately. If he didn't cultivate to the maximum he couldn't, he wouldn't go out. Dustless Fruit was taken by Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor, and I saw a dragon horse. The dragon horse that appeared in the small heaven domain is in Yemo's hands. A long-browed man spoke in a huge palace. This person was Li Long, Immortal Emperor. This palace seemed very ancient. It was as though it had been here for countless millions of years. There were tens of cushioned seats around the palace. Each cushion emitted extremely dense, immortal spirit chi. Some immortal emperors were sitting on them cultivating. But hearing this, most immortal emperors stopped cultivation and came over. You said you saw the dragon horse? The dragon horse most great eternity immortals saw in the small heaven domain? One middle-aged immortal emperor asked heavily. Yes, Feng Kong Grand Emperor, I'm certain I saw it. In order to take the dustless fruit, I retreated immediately. Later, I realized I was tricked by the bastard. There was just an useless stone in the box. The dustless fruit is either in the hands of Yemo or Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor. Li Long, Immortal Emperor said. Yemo, Ning Xiaoma, Dragon Horse. Feng Kong Grand Emperor murmured and sneered, no matter who he is, I won't let him go for playing tricks with the small heaven domain. Wei Feng, Immortal Emperor, immediately said, Feng Kong Grand Emperor is right. This person is very cunning and snuck into the small heaven domain. Since he can survive the explosion of the small heaven domain, he might have some top-level rune or other secrets. We'll continue to break the formation in this palace. As long as Yemo is in this dimension, he wouldn't be able to get away. No matter where he goes, he has to come here to leave. Dragon River Grand Emperor said. Although Yemo knew the position of this palace, he never thought about going there now. He was still in solitary cultivation now. More than 10 extreme, grade immortal range, and tens of top-grade immortal range. Yemo didn't believe he couldn't reach Immortal Monarch tertiary stage. Although Yemo knew the position of this palace, he never thought about going there now. He was still in solitary cultivation now. More than 10 extreme grade immortal range and tens of top-grade immortal range. Yemo didn't believe he couldn't reach Immortal Monarch tertiary stage. Other people used immortal crystals to cultivate, but Yemo used immortal range to cultivate. Immortal ranges were used up, and all these devoured immortal spirit chi turned into his immortal essence. After the time formation disk spun for a year, Yemo suddenly left the time formation disk and came to an empty space in the Golden Page world. He didn't prepare at all and casually released a god art. 5 extremely thick lightning spears with 10 km of lightning arcs suddenly smashed down. There was no preparation or gathering of force, nor void lethal force. But when these 5 lightning spears landed, the nearby lethal force was instantly drawn over and attacked at the same spot. Rumble! A huge ravine appeared in the Golden Page world. Small Ginseng and Shadowless came to watch worriedly. Yemo rejoiced. His lightning sword, after going through Immortal Monarch Divine Damnation and devouring large amounts of golden lightning, finally formed a new god art, 5 Lightning Spear Destruction. Compared to Lightning Sand, This 5 lightning spear destruction was much more powerful, and more importantly, it didn't need to gather force. It released instantly. That was the most terrifying part. It could be said that up until now, 5 lightning spear destruction was Yi Mo's most powerful god art. After learning 5 lightning spear destruction, Yi Mo continued to go into time formation disc for solitary cultivation. He was more certain now that even Immortal Emperor might not be able to take 5 lightning spear destruction, especially with Shadowless devouring Immortal Emperor domain. Time flew by in Yi Mo's cultivation, and Yi Mo's immortal ranges were rapidly consumed. When he was Immortal King, it would take 200-300 years to use up one extreme great immortal range, but now, he would use up one every few decades. When his time formation disc ran for 10 years, Yi Mo stopped cultivation. It wasn't that he didn't want to cultivate, but that he had no more immortal range. Yi Mo was speechless. More than 10 extreme grade immortal range and tens of top grade immortal range only lifted his power to Immortal Monarch middle stage peak. He didn't even reach Immortal Monarch tertiary stage. If he didn't enter this space, there was no way he would reach Immortal Monarch middle stage outside. 3 Birth Chant used on tremendous amounts of resources later on, and this was multiplicative. Yi Mo didn't dare to imagine how much resources he would need to reach Immortal Emperor and how much resources he would need for Immortal Emperor cultivation. According to such calculation, even if he stayed here his entire life, he wouldn't be able to reach Divine Emperor. If he left, there would be even lesser chance. Realizing how much resources he needed, Yi Mo took Shadowless on a frenzied digging for immortal range. He wasn't letting go even low-grade immortal ranges. A month later, Yi Mo found more than 10 immortal range with the help of Shadowless. There was one extreme grade immortal range. He was going to go to the palace that Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor, spoke up, but he suddenly received a news. It was from He Chong, Immortal Emperor. He seemed very desperate, asking Yi Mo if there was a place to hide. Yi Mo immediately replied to He Chong, Immortal Emperor, and charged towards where he was. A few hours later, Yi Mo saw a He Chong, Immortal Emperor covered in wound. He didn't even have the time to recover. But what shook Yi Mo was that He Chong, Immortal Emperor, was Immortal Emperor tertiary stage, and his chi was very stable. Clearly, he had reached Immortal Emperor tertiary stage for a while. Brother He Chong, what is this? Yi Mo looked at He Chong in confusion. He Chong, Immortal Emperor, saw Yi Mo and breathed easy. I was hunted by that Xian Feng, Immortal Emperor, and a long-browed guy. Before he finished, his face changed. Those 2 bastards are here. We need to leave quickly. Brother Yi, do you have good recovery pills? I don't have any left. Yi Mo smiled and waved his hand. No need to leave. My immortal pet and I can take care of that long brows. I wanted to look for his trouble 10 years ago, and he dares to come today. Then, Yi Mo took out a bottle of pills and said, this is a bottle of good pills. Use it first. Blue Spirit Essence pill? You have such high-level pills. He Chong called out in shock, and then quickly ate one, saying, thank you so much. This is really good. He even forgot to tell Yi Mo to run, and when he woke up, 2 dashing lights came. Ha, kid. You hid for 10 years, and now I still found you. A long-browed man saw Yi Mo and laughed. Xian Feng, Immortal Emperor, fought with Yi Mo once and knew he wasn't simple. Although Yi Mo made him lose face last time, he was very calm this time. Yi Mo, my injuries have recovered a little. Leave that Xian Feng to me. You can have the long brows. He Chong, Immortal Emperor, released his magic artifact and stood with Yi Mo, your Li Long, the bastard who stole my dustless fruit. Yi Mo stared at this man coldly. You're asking to die. Li Long, Immortal Emperor, sneered, and an eerie white heaven tiger claw floated above his head. He didn't release it immediately, but instead glared at Yi Mo, asking, You're Ning Xiaoma? Or do you know Ning Xiaoma, who was my disciple Fu Xingxing killed by? Clearly, Yi Mo wasn't going to admit he was Ning Xiaoma, even if other people knew it. Yi Mo couldn't even be bothered talking to Li Long, Immortal Emperor, now, and hacked over with Zisu. When the 2 fought, He Chong, Immortal Emperor, and Xian Feng, Immortal Emperor, started fighting. Yi Mo was Immortal Monarch now, and didn't fear any sword ray or lightning in this dimension. His crevice strike was many times stronger than when he was a mortal king. Crevice swept up the nearby space and drew a faint void blade mark. All the lethal force in this space was swept up by this strike. Even a portion of space fell into this blade. Li Long, Immortal Emperor, was Immortal Emperor middle stage, and seeing this strike, he knew that Yi Mo definitely hid his power. He also realized that the stories he heard about Yi Mo wasn't bullshit. With Yi Mo's god art, it wasn't hard for him to hunt Wu Hui, Immortal Emperor. But even so, Li Long, Immortal Emperor, wasn't scared of Yi Mo. He expanded his humongous Immortal Emperor domain. Meanwhile, the Heaven Tiger Claw turned into thousands of 10 km white light and struck towards Yi Mo. Yi Mo's crevice slowed immediately in the Immortal Emperor domain. Seeing this, Shadowless opened his mouth and started eating. A few hundred of those white lights were also devoured by Shadowless. Meanwhile, Li Long's Immortal Emperor domain had a large chunk bitten off by Shadowless. The slowed purple crevice soon sped up again. Then, Yi Mo ignored the white light and punched out after crevice. Buzz! Space was vibrating under crevice, and the crevices in space appeared more clearly. Li Long, Immortal Emperor, was enveloped in this purple crevice. Devour space? Li Long didn't mind Yi Mo's crevice and didn't see Yi Mo's shatter space fist god art, but he looked at Shadowless in shock. Li Long, Immortal Emperor, didn't dare to care about Shadowless when the faint lethal force came. He released a huge cauldron while his light claws roared like a tiger, piercing down from the heavens. Crack! Crevice struck the metal cauldron. There was an ear-screeching sound while Immortal Essence exploded. There were waves of void ripples and shakes. Even Xian Feng, Immortal Emperor, and He Chong, Immortal Emperor, who were a few hundred km away, stopped in shock and looked over. Rumble? Now! Yi Mo's Shatter Space God art just swept up space itself and clashed with the huge white tiger. The white tiger let out a roar, and its front claw clawed out a 3 kilometers deep ravine. Shadowless bit down on the tiger claw before it could go back. The white tiger roared again, but the light claws dimmed down a lot. Li Long, Immortal Emperor, retreated 100 meters before stopping. There was a faint blood mark on his forehead. He ignored it and just looked at Yi Mo in extreme shock. Li Long, Immortal Emperor, was different to Wu Hui, Immortal Emperor. Although this dimension affected him greatly, it wasn't as bad as it was for Wu Hui, Immortal Emperor. Li Long, Immortal Emperor, was different to Wu Hui, Immortal Emperor. Although this dimension affected him greatly, it wasn't as bad as it was for Wu Hui, Immortal Emperor. Yet, Yi Mo had the upper hand in the clash with the help of the dragon horse and his immortal god body. How was this possible? Was Yi Mo an immortal emperor, but just hid his power to immortal king? Yi Mo was also sighing. Although he hunted Wu Hui, Immortal Emperor, he would be struck away if he fought Wu Hui head-on. He used his immortal god body to give Wu Hui, Immortal Emperor, so much annoyance. But now, he truly felt his progress. He could fight head-on with Immortal Emperor, middle stage Li Long, Immortal Emperor. With Shadowless's help, he didn't retreat a single step, and Li Long, Immortal Emperor, was struck back instead. Li Long, Immortal Emperor, was different to Wu Hui, Immortal Emperor. His power was far stronger than Wu Hui, Immortal Emperor. Even Xian Feng, Immortal Emperor, was far weaker than Li Long, Immortal Emperor, during Immortal Emperor middle stage. Even so, he still had the upper hand. This meant that when he went out now, ordinary Immortal Emperor couldn't point fingers at him anymore. But Yi Mo also knew that there was still quite some distance between him and the top Immortal Emperors. Li Long, Immortal Emperor, retreated, but Yi Mo didn't let him go. He released Zissou again and smashed another crevice over. At the same time, he expanded his domain. His spirit sense was very powerful. His Immortal Monarch domain was no weaker than ordinary Immortal Emperor. Feeling Yi Mo's powerful domain and Shadowless come up, Li Long, Immortal Emperor, immediately knew that he was no match for Yi Mo here. If he was caught by Yi Mo's domain, he would suffer greatly even if he can get away. Plus, he found out from other immortal emperors that Yemo was a madman. He chased Wuhui, immortal emperor, for 2 months or so. Thinking about this, Li Long, immortal emperor, didn't want to keep fighting Yemo. Even if he was to, it would be after he left this dimension. Li Long, immortal emperor, spun and disappeared in a dashing light. Yemo looked at the direction with a bleak face. He knew that if he chased up, he would be able to find Li Long, immortal emperor, but Yemo didn't have that much time to chase him. Neither He Chong nor Xian Feng, immortal emperor, thought that Li Long, immortal emperor, would run away. Xian Feng, immortal emperor, turned to run without saying anything. If he didn't go now, it would be staying to die. Ha! Yemo, I saw right of you indeed. He Chong immediately reacted. He didn't chase Xian Feng, immortal emperor, but raised his thumb to Yemo. Then he pointed at Shadowless. This dragon horse is so powerful. It can even devour domain and Goddard. What in the world can it devour? I'm afraid even the legendary Shadowless worm is so-so. Yemo didn't hide it and pointed at Shadowless. This is evolved from Shadowless worm. Shadowless heard this and raised his head pridefully. Brother He Chong, how come most of the immortal emperor don't know you? Are you not from the 33 heavens? Yemo asked. He Chong smiled and said, I am from the 33 heavens. I originally came from Middle Heaven Domain, Ji Yao Heaven. I was swept into a void crevice when I was crossing the void. In there, I had my fortune, and after tens of thousands of years, I reached Immortal Emperor middle stage from Immortal Monarch middle stage. Now, I even reached Immortal Emperor tertiary stage. Seeing Yemo days. He Chong, immortal emperor, said, I found a heritage in the void and used up almost all my resources to reach Immortal Emperor. Only when I reached Immortal Emperor middle stage did I find an opportunity to leave that crevice. But when I left, I didn't get back to the Immortal Realm lands and came in here again. No wonder the other Immortal Emperor didn't know him. By the way, Brother He Chong, how did you suddenly reach Immortal Emperor tertiary stage? How did that Xian Feng, Immortal Emperor, reach Immortal Emperor tertiary stage? Yemo asked. Yemo, you really hid your power level. He Chong saw that Yemo could see his cultivation level and replied in shock. Yemo nodded yes. I'm actually an immortal monarch. Although I don't fear that long brows, my power level is probably the lowest here, so I hid my cultivation level. No wonder, He Chong said and then added, don't feel bad about yourself. Although that Xian Feng, Immortal Emperor, is Immortal Emperor tertiary stage, he's probably no match for you. Yemo nodded. Xian Feng, Immortal Emperor, was weaker than Li Long, Immortal Emperor. When he was Immortal Emperor middle stage, he was only a little bit stronger than Wu Hui, Immortal Emperor. Even if he left this space, Yemo didn't fear him with Shadowless's help. 2 of these bastards chased me, otherwise how can I fear them? He Chong, Immortal Emperor, cursed, and then said, there's a huge palace inside. There's no lethal force in that palace. It's not only quiet, but also has abundant immortal spirit chi. You know that palace, right? Yemo nodded. Yes, Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor, told me. I haven't gone in yet, because I'm all alone. I was planning to go in when I'm stronger. Let's go, we can go there together. Us 2 plus your shadowless worm. We won't even fear an Immortal Emperor peak. He Chong, Immortal Emperor, immediately said. I'm shadowless, don't call me other things. Shadowless said unhappily. Huh? He Chong, Immortal Emperor, laughed and said to Yemo, that palace probably isn't something of the immortal realm. No one knows where it came from. After the Grand Emperors broke open the restrictions, a huge yard appeared. Spirit sense couldn't even scan to the edge of the yard. There were countless restrictions and a space formation door inside. The space formation door is very strange. Only those who can open it can go in. Yemo immediately focused. After experiencing Tidal Status Tower, he knew that there were realms that had disappeared. When he was given his title, he saw a few sentences, and one of them was, the God realm has disappeared, the stars are hidden. He Chong, Immortal Emperor, didn't know what Yemo thought, and kept saying those restrictions were very hard to open. Some people can't even open one in years. I worked with other immortal emperors and spent nearly a decade to open one. Inside the restriction was a blue fruit. This fruit can allow an immortal emperor to break through without any side effects. But everyone can only have one. What's shocking is that no one can recognize what fruit it is. Yemo called out in shock. Then wouldn't it be like a Du Luo, heaven fruit? Du Luo, heaven fruit could let people below great immortal break through once. That's right. It would be the Du Luo, heaven fruit of immortal emperors. I was lucky to get two. Xianfeng got one. I don't know if it's useful for you, but you can have this one. Then He Chong, immortal emperor, took out a jade box and gave it to Yemo. Yemo opened the box and saw an extremely blue fruit. It had no smell and looked ordinary. Yemo couldn't recognize what fruit this was. Closing the jade box, he gave it back to He Chong, immortal emperor. Even if I don't use this fruit, I will be reaching immortal monarch tertiary stage soon. As long as I don't reach immortal emperor, this fruit would be a waste to give to me. You can keep it. When I need it, I'll ask for it. Okay. He Chong, immortal emperor, then said, I had conflict with that long brow due to this fruit. Long brows was speaking bad things about you in the palace. I didn't like it and rebuked. However, the two were already scheming to rob my fruit. As soon as I left, the two bastards gained up on me. I had no help, so I could only run while asking for help from you. Then are the four grand emperors also in the palace? Yemo asked. He Chong, immortal emperor, shook his head. The stronger people went into the space formation door. The weaker ones can only stay there to break restriction and find all sorts of immortal spirit items to improve their power in hopes of opening the door. I'm not strong enough to open the space formation door, so I can only stay with the other immortal emperors in the palace. Yemo said without hesitation, Let's go. We'll go to the palace. Yemo didn't have much to worry hearing that the few grand emperors weren't there. This is the palace? Yemo stood before an extremely ancient palace and asked. According to the jade slip Ji Lei, immortal emperor gave him, the palace was here too. This is the palace? Yemo stood before an extremely ancient palace and asked. According to the jade slip Ji Lei, immortal emperor gave him, the palace was here too. Yeah, it's here. He Chong, immortal emperor, replied. He had fully recovered with Yemo's supply of pills. The palace had no gate. It was pitch black inside, and one couldn't see the surroundings of the palace clearly. One could only touch some obscure things with spirit sense. All the lethality of this dimension warped around the palace and disappeared. Yemo just stood at this palace and watched from a brief moment before saying, Let's go in first. Then, he took Shadowless into the palace. He Chong, immortal emperor, followed closely. In the palace, Li Long, immortal emperor, ran off first and didn't tell Xianfeng, immortal emperor, so the two didn't speak here. Xianfeng was quite annoyed Li Long ran off alone. The other immortal emperors glanced at them strangely, but didn't ask. Li Long, immortal emperor, and Xianfeng, immortal emperor, clearly went to hunt He Chong, immortal emperor, but now they were back, and there was no signs of He Chong, immortal emperor. He was probably dead. As for the two appearing not to be so harmonious, there was probably some discord on the division of loot. You dare to come here? Li Long, immortal emperor, immediately saw Yemo and yelled. After he yelled, he immediately realized if Yemo really fought with him, he wouldn't be able to get help. Yemo ignored Li Long, immortal emperor, and went into the palace. His spirit sense scanned this palace and glanced at the shocked looks of the other immortal emperors. He saw Zheng Run, immortal emperor, who nodded at him. This palace was extremely huge, and there was a faint light formation. People could see the layouts of the palace clearly. There were more than 10 cushions that had extremely dense immortal spirit chi seeping out. In the middle of the palace, there was an extremely ancient chi swirling around, making Yemo feel he returned to the ancient times. Yemo studied the palace, and the other immortal emperors said nothing. When Yemo was still immortal king, Xianfeng, immortal emperor, was very cocky to Yemo, but now when Yemo scanned his eyes over, he quickly lowered his head. He really didn't want to have conflict with Yemo. Haha. Sect leader Yi. Long time no see. Zheng Ren, Immortal Emperor, reached Immortal Emperor tertiary stage. He greeted Yimo. Yimo saluted with his fists. Indeed. Zheng Ren Qianbei. Zheng Ren, Immortal Emperor, saw that Li Long, Immortal Emperor, just yelled at Yimo once and said nothing more. How could he not know that this guy suffered in Yimo's hands, just like Wu Hui? Seeing how Xianfeng, Immortal Emperor, didn't even say anything, he guessed that Xianfeng, Immortal Emperor, was probably scared of Yimo. He then smiled. Sect Leader Yi, you can just call me Brother Zheng Ren. I don't dare to be some Qianbei. Yimo didn't care that much. The respect in the immortal realm was determined by power. Now that his power was no weaker than Zheng Ren, Immortal Emperor, Yimo saluted with his fists. Okay. After I take care of some business, I'll come and chat with Brother Zheng Ren. Although there were 7 or 8 people here who hadn't seen Yimo, they've long heard of Yimo's name. Seeing Zheng Ren, Immortal Emperor, so polite to Yimo, and Yimo was indeed an immortal king middle stage, everyone was dazed. Was an immortal king middle stage really that powerful? But Shadowless caught more attention. Shadowless had golden wings and indeed looked like a dragon horse. However, he was uglier than a horse. The reason Yimo kept his power hidden at Immortal King middle stage was to tell people his cultivation level was long at Immortal Monarch. He just kept his power hidden, that's all. Okay, no problem. Zheng Ren, Immortal Emperor, smiled. He knew that it was probably to do with Li Long, Immortal Emperor, and Xianfeng, Immortal Emperor. Yimo then turned to Li Long, Immortal Emperor. Long-browed bastard. You robbed my dustless fruit and dares to ask me why I dare to come here. I want to see how strong you are. Shadowless, cut off their escape. We'll have our revenge here. Seeing the strongest here was only Immortal Emperor tertiary stage, and the Immortal Emperor peak stages weren't here, Yimo felt assured. As long as people like Feng Kong Grand Emperor weren't here, he didn't need to worry at all. If Feng Kong Grand Emperor was here, he would run away immediately. He Chong, Immortal Emperor, admired Yimo, seeing that he was looking for Li Long's trouble as soon as he came. Even he didn't dare to challenge Li Long here. Who knew if he had help here? Yimo, do you have no shame? What did I take your dustless fruit? I just robbed an empty box. You cunning bastard. You let me take an empty box, and now you come back asking for dustless fruit. Li Long, Immortal Emperor, was furious. Yimo didn't attack immediately. He watched to see if there would be people to help Li Long, Immortal Emperor, as he sneered. So this means it's right of you to rob my things? If you put away what was in my box and say you stole an empty box, do I need to compensate you? You? Li Long, Immortal Emperor, was lost for words. Dao friends, please uphold justice. This guy is merely Immortal King power, and he dares to frame me for robbing his dustless fruit. He's too shameless. Li Long knew he was probably no match for Yimo and Shadowless alone. Even those few Immortal Emperor breaking restriction in the backyard of the palace came in to watch. No Immortal Emperor was dumb here. No one said anything. If Yimo was really an Immortal King, why do you not go up, but instead wait for us to bring justice? Do you think other people are idiots? Yimo also saluted with his fists. I'm Mo, you Immortal Sect Leader Yimo. Of course, I hid my power a little. I just hope that when I seek justice, no one twists the truth. Otherwise, you will be fighting against Mo, you Immortal Sect. As long as I don't die, I will visit you one by one. Yimo was helpless. He didn't have the power, so he could only threat. I've decided to join Mo, you Immortal Sect. If anyone decides to twist the truth, I will visit them with Sect Leader. He Chong, Immortal Emperor, laughed. Hearing this, Yimo rejoiced, but he didn't have time to talk to Yichong yet. He saluted with his fists. I'm about to reach level 9, Immortal Pill Grand Master. Those Immortal Emperor friends who wish to uphold justice can come to my MOU Immortal Sect for pill concoction in the future. I would welcome you all greatly. Yimo knew that many people would feel annoyed about his threat and might even attack him due to that. So, he threw out that he was about to be level 9 Immortal Pill Grandmaster, which Immortal Emperor didn't want to connect with a level 9 Immortal Pill Grandmaster. Although there wouldn't be people overtly speaking for Yimo, some Immortal Emperor had come over to chat with Yimo. No one believed Yimo would lie. Yemo wouldn't dare to lie in front of so many immortal emperors unless he was dumb. Li Long, immortal emperor's face went pale. He didn't expect Yemo was about to reach level 9 immortal pill grandmaster. If that was the case, no matter how right he was, not many would want to help him. Friends, after I deal with my private matter here, pill concoction will be easy. Yemo saluted with his fists. The immortal emperors here knew that Yemo was going to resolve personal issues with Li Long, so they stopped talking. Li Long, immortal emperor, was very annoyed. If Yemo wasn't going to reach level 9 immortal pill grandmaster, he could get a few help. But with this, no one would stand on his side. Shadowless roared, seeing that his boss had stabilized the situation. He was ready to devour Li Long, immortal emperor's domain. Without even fighting, Yemo had an immortal emperor tertiary stage on the side and a maniac that could devour domain. Li Long knew he had lost without needing to fight. What do you want? Li Long, immortal emperor, looked hatefully at Yemo. Yemo felt satisfied. He knew he couldn't kill Li Long, immortal emperor, here, even if other immortal emperors didn't attack. Yemo was using the excuse of dustless fruit to reap some benefits. Seeing that, Li Long, immortal emperor, asked. Yemo said, Jile, immortal emperor, gave me the price of 40 immortal range for the dustless fruit. 20 of them are extreme grade. There's also 150 immortal spirit herb on top of that. Decide for yourself. Yemo was using the excuse of dustless fruit to reap some benefits. Seeing that, Li Long, immortal emperor, asked. Yemo said, Jile, immortal emperor, gave me the price of 40 immortal range for the dustless fruit. 20 of them are extreme grade. There's also 150 immortal spirit herb on top of that. Decide for yourself. Yemo added 10 more immortal range. Since he didn't need Jade Flow Void Wood, he didn't say it. Seeing Shadowless and He-Chong, immortal emperor, who were keen to jump in, Li Long, immortal emperor, knew that he fell for it today. He took out a storage ring and gave it to Yemo. I only have these things. If you're not happy, then let's fight it out. He gave the things, but he couldn't lose his face. Li Long, immortal emperor, said as though he knew that Yemo wouldn't regret. Yemo looked at the storage ring. There were 9 extreme grade immortal range and 27 middle grade and top grade immortal range. Other than this, there were 10s of level 7 and above immortal spirit herb, as well as 10,000 extreme grade immortal crystals. Yemo was planning on getting as much as he could. He knew that Li Long, immortal emperor, definitely didn't take out everything, but if he asked for more, there would be a huge fight. Yemo didn't want to fight now, so thinking about this, he nodded. This is it then. Li Long, immortal emperor, breathed easy, and the other few immortal emperor on the side also breathed easy. If Yemo was to really fight, they could only persuade. They couldn't just watch Li Long, immortal emperor, getting killed. Yemo put away the storage ring and smiled to He-Chong, immortal emperor. Brother He-Chong, you're an immortal emperor elder of our MOU immortal sect now. He-Chong also laughed. I didn't expect I was able to join the sect of a level 9 immortal pill grandmaster. This is my luck. Then, He-Chong said seriously to Yemo, sect leader. My name is Long Huang Tian. Title He-Chong. Yemo was happy thinking about an immortal emperor joining his sect. He didn't hide his title and said, my title is Eternity. Eternity, immortal king. Before Yemo finished this, almost all the immortal emperors looked at Yemo. Saying he was about to be a level 9 immortal pill grandmaster was shocking enough, but this title was going to shock the world. Ever since the immortal realm had the title status tablet, no one had ever gotten Eternity. Eternity meant eternal life. Who dared to use such title for himself? There were many powerful titles in the immortal realm, and even all sorts of god titles, but not Eternity. Sect leader, are you really Eternity, immortal king? This, He-Chong, immortal emperor, asked dazedly. Yemo smiled. Just call me Eternity, immortal king. Even if there's no such title on the title status tablet, I can name it myself. Okay, huh? He-Chong, immortal emperor, raised his thumb at Yemo. He admired Yemo's force. Every title was unique, so once you made others feel unhappy about your title, they could challenge you. For example, Sword King. If you got such title, then other sword immortals might feel you don't deserve it, so you would have to accept all sorts of challenges. Yemo's title was more powerful than any other title. But this way, no one would challenge him, as this title didn't involve a specific domain. It just meant longevity and eternity. Usually those who gave themselves such title were madmen, or those who liked to fool themselves, who would start conflict with such people. Yemo was clearly thought to be such person by the immortal emperors here. His title didn't show on the title status tablet, so clearly he named it himself. Of course, if this title really appeared on the Immortal King tablet, it would be something else. The Eternity Immortal King approved by the Immortal King tablet was no simple matter. It would cause shockwaves across the entire immortal realm. It would even catch the attention of divine emperors. Every title on the Immortal King tablet had a special meaning and was made based on the unique attribute of each person. There was no mistake. Sect Leader Yi. I'm Du. I come from Qing Wei Heaven Martial Emperor sect. This palace is ancient. According to the judgment of the few grand emperors, it doesn't belong to the immortal realm. We found large sums of restrictions and formation at the back of the palace. If Sect Leader Yi don't mind, you can join us and we can break the restriction together. Someone came over. Even if Yemo just stayed as level 8 Immortal Pill Grandmaster, people wouldn't want to miss out on the chance to connect with him. As soon as the Immortal Emperor invited, a few more Immortal Emperor invited Yemo. Zhengren Immortal Emperor squeezed in front and said, Sect Leader Yi, we already know each other. Why don't you and He Chong, Immortal Emperor, join my squad? Our restriction is almost done. I believe we can finish it in a few years. Everyone invited Yemo, but no one called him Eternity Immortal King. This title was too unrealistic. Every Immortal Emperor here had lived for countless years. Yemo saluted with his fists around. I'm planning to go with He Chong, Immortal Emperor, to the back. Regardless, Yi is very happy to meet so many Immortal Dao Qianbais here. As long as I can go out, Yi is very happy to concoct pills for everyone. Although Yemo said Qianbei, his tone clearly meant that he treated them as equals. The other Immortal Emperors were just being polite. Now that Yemo didn't want to go with them, no one would keep inviting. Sect Leader Yi spoke clearly that he was willing to concoct pills, but not for free. After the discord was settled, everyone went back into the backyard again. Yemo and He Chong, Immortal Emperor, went in too. After coming in here, he saw that the immortal spirit Qi here was extremely dense, and his spirit sense couldn't seem to scan to the end. Waves of restrictions were very clear. Even the space formation door was clear. You can't scan to the end with your spirit sense in here, and there's no way to enter the backyard. However, you can try to open the restrictions here. There's extreme grade immortal spirit fruit, as well as top-level immortal materials. He Chong, Immortal Emperor, explained. Zheng Run, Immortal Emperor, also nodded. Brother, He Chong is right. There are top-level things in every restriction. The best is the blue fruit. Brother He Chong got too. Although we don't know what fruit it is, it can let Immortal Emperor break through a level. The only pity is that it's too hard to break open a restriction here. It might even take more than 10 years. Speaking of this, Zheng Run, Immortal Emperor, subconsciously looked at the formation door and sighed. It's even harder to open that void formation door. Other than the 5-peak Immortal Emperors, no one else has been able to open it. Yemo went to a random wave restriction and felt it with his hand. He immediately felt the complexity of this restriction. This was a restriction he had never seen before. The means with which it was made was also completely different to the ordinary restrictions of the immortal realm. Yemo went to a random wave restriction and felt it with his hand. He immediately felt the complexity of this restriction. This was a restriction he had never seen before. The means with which it was made was also completely different to the ordinary restrictions of the immortal realm. This restriction can only be solved, but not forced open. If you break it by force, there would be an even greater repulsion force, and everything inside the restriction would be ruined. I worked with them for nearly 10 years before we broke one of the restrictions. He Chong, Immortal Emperor, added on the side. He was also hinting Yemo that they wouldn't be able to open a restriction just by themselves. Yemo didn't seem to hear it and kept feeling the restriction. After a while, he said to He-Chong, Immortal Emperor, I've never seen such restriction before indeed. Brother He-Chong, go find another restriction and try to solve it or work with Zheng Run Immortal Emperor. I need to study this restriction. It might take a while. Hearing this, He-Chong shook his head. He knew that everyone who saw this for the first time wanted to see if they could solve it alone. In fact, after decades, rarely could anyone solve the restriction alone other than those few Grand Emperors. Even if they could, it wasn't a matter of a year or two. Yemo was different to the rest. He really had confidence. Touching this restriction seemed like seeing a new gate to him. He wanted to settle down and use the three-birth chant to derive these restrictions. Even though Yemo set down barrier restriction, no one cared. It was very common to do this. Soon, Yemo immersed in the derivation of the restrictions. The three-birth chant's Tao waves were blocked by the barrier restriction, but some still seeped out. However, the immortal spirit chi of this place was extremely dense, and there were ancient kais. Thus, the Tao waves weren't very eye-catchy. Sets of new restriction methods in theory were derived by Yemo and soon incorporated into his formation Tao. Restriction was a part of formation. When Yemo sunk into the derivation, his formation skills increased drastically too. He-Chong Immortal Emperor didn't ask to join Zheng Ren Immortal Emperor's team. Their restriction was almost done. If he asked to join in now, it would be like asking for a free share. He found a restriction not far from Yemo and tried to solve it alone. A year later, He-Chong Immortal Emperor saw that Yemo was still deriving inside the barrier restriction. He couldn't hold himself anymore. Yemo definitely wouldn't be able to break open it in a short time. There were 2 restrictions opened already, and one of them had 3 Emperor Carrot. The other restriction had 2 primordial soul stones. Both things were invaluable. Emperor Carrot is one of the best level 9 immortal spirit herb in the immortal realm and the main immortal spirit herb for concocting Great Way Emperor Pill. This pill gave immortal monarchs 30% extra chance of reaching Immortal Emperor. Compared to the other Emperor Pillar pill made with level 9 Immortal Spirit Beast core, it was much higher caliber. The 2 were incomparable. Another half a year later, Yemo suddenly opened his eyes and threw out a few hand signs. The restriction he had been deriving for a year and a half easily opened. A space of a few cubic meters appeared before him. An ancient jade vase with floral carvings sat peacefully inside. But Yemo felt this vase wasn't simple. There were restrictions wrapping the outside of this vase. One's spirit sense couldn't go in at all. By now, Yemo realized that this restriction was completely different to Immortal Realm restriction means. If Immortal Realm restrictions were the basics, then the restrictions here were a new system after changing all sorts of basics. This means showed Yemo a completely new world to formation. After opening this world, he could fly free and devour all sorts of formation and restriction means. In a short year, his formation skills suddenly improved. Most importantly, his knowledge of formation was far beyond his original state. The 3-birth chant could derive everything, but Yemo couldn't use it to create everything. He could only derive things if new things appeared and then expand on that. After taking this vase, Yemo opened his barrier restriction. Yemo saw that everyone was focused on their own restriction, and even He-Chong was with another team solving restriction. Yemo didn't call him. For the second restriction, Yemo only used half a month to solve it. There was a fist-sized white stone. Yemo scanned his spirit sense into the stone, and his spirit sense felt very comfortable. The fatigue from solving restrictions were instantly gone. Other Immortal Emperor saw Yemo break the second restriction. He-Chong Immortal Emperor charged up to Yemo and asked Sect Leader, "You know how to solve the restriction here?" Seeing all the Immortal Emperors come over, Yemo didn't hide it. "That's right. I've indeed mastered the way to solve the restriction here, but this method uses up a lot of spirit sense. After solving 2 restrictions, my spirit sense will retreat a lot. It would indeed use up some spirit sense, but with Yemo's spirit sense power, he could recover very quickly." Hearing this, Some immortal emperor's eyes were glistening. Yemo started to solve the third restriction. Yemo only needed 2 days to open it, but since all those immortal emperors were watching, Yemo could only waste half a month of time before opening it. Inside was a small blue tree with 5 fruits hanging on it. It's this fruit. One can allow an immortal emperor to break through once. Hichong Immortal Emperor immediately called. Those immortal emperors who hadn't got this fruit were looking at it with red eyes. Yemo took the tree immediately. Yemo, let's continue. There's so many restrictions here. Hichong, Immortal Emperor, said. Yemo knew that if he really did, that he would be over. He waved his hand, Brother Hichong. That probably won't do. It's easy to solve these restrictions, but it's a huge consumption on my spirit sense. According to my calculations, we can at most solve 99 restrictions here. If we go beyond that, there will be huge trouble. Yemo just had that feeling, but his skills weren't high enough to guess an exact number, so he said 99. Then your intention is sect leader Yi? A rather coarse voice said. Then your intention is sect leader Yi? A rather coarse voice said. Yemo looked at this person. He knew this person, they had chatted before. He was called Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor Tertiary Stage, from Jinshan Heaven. Yemo thought and said, with my own power, I can at most open 7 or 8 of these, and I would receive backlash. However, I have another method, and that is I tell everyone how to open the restriction. You can use your own immortal essence and spirit sense to solve the restriction. Although it would be quite taxing, it's better than solving all the restrictions myself. Good. Sect Leader Yi's idea is great. We definitely won't let Sect Leader Yi waste spirit sense for no reason. We will give you payment. All the nearby Immortal Emperor clapped in approval. They already guessed that Yemo was lying, and they knew that Yemo said this, so everyone won't get angry at him for taking everything. Sect Leader Yi, may I ask how long it would take to solve a restriction after you teach us? Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor, asked. Yemo thought for a while and said that would depend on people's cultivation level. If it's someone like you, I believe 3 to 5 months would be enough. Sect Leader Yi, I have an Emperor carrot here. I want to trade for a blue fruit from Sect Leader Yi. At the same time, I want to ask Sect Leader Yi to teach me how to solve on restriction. An Immortal Emperor walked up to Yemo with a jade box. He could tell that Yemo was an Immortal Emperor, yet so Emperor Carrot was very important to him. Hearing this, Yemo was indeed a bit excited, but he soon forced himself to stay calm. If it was outside, he would definitely be overjoyed to trade an Emperor Carrot for a blue fruit and restriction-solving method. But in here, Yemo wasn't that dumb. Hichong, Immortal Emperor, saw this and said, Sect Leader, this friend got his Emperor Carrot here. Yemo understood and smiled. Even if your Emperor Carrot can barely trade for my blue fruit, but you still want me to teach you restriction, I'm at too much of a loss. The other Immortal Emperors looked on the side and said nothing. Although it was Yemo discussing business with this Immortal Emperor, they could use that price too once it was settled. Seeing this Immortal Emperor daze, Yemo suddenly said, each restriction here would take me some time and a lot of effort to know what to do. My spirit sense isn't deprived right now, but once it is and there are mistakes, then it would take longer to solve the restriction. I'm actually more interested in Immortal Range. I'll give 3G Immortal Range for 1 restriction solution. One Immortal Emperor couldn't bear waiting and named his price. Yemo didn't answer clearly as he wasn't happy with this price. The Immortal Emperor saw this and added, 2 more, 5 Immortal Range. 5 extreme grade Immortal Range was a heavenly price outside, but here it wasn't so special. Everyone had extreme grade Immortal Range, and it could be dug at any time. Okay. Friend, please point which restriction you want to solve, Yemo said. In a short half a day, Yemo marked the restriction solution on a jade slip and gave it to that Immortal Emperor. Seeing this Immortal Emperor start, the rest of the Immortal Emperors took out their Immortal Range and dealt with Yemo. The Immortal Emperor with Emperor Carrot quickly added another 5 extreme grade Immortal Ranges too. More than 10 days later, Yemo got tens of extreme grade Immortal Range. He was very happy with this. Almost everyone went to solve restriction, and so did he. 2 months later, someone had already solved a restriction. This was far quicker than Emo had anticipated. At first moment, everyone else knew that the immortal emperor broke the restriction. Since everyone was working alone now, no one knew what he got nor did he show what he got. However, from his joyful look, people could tell it wasn't bad. This immortal emperor immediately took out another 5 extreme, great immortal range, asking Emo to teach him another one. Emo came here for extreme great immortal range, so he didn't reject it at all. He also took time seriously and solved a few more restrictions. This was him intentionally dragging it out. Otherwise, he would be able to do tens of restrictions. He didn't know anything that he got from the restrictions, but he could tell they weren't ordinary, so he threw it into his golden page world. As time went on and the restrictions were solved, Emo kept collecting extreme great immortal range. When he had collected enough and people asked him for restriction help, he said with a pale face that if he kept doing that his sea of consciousness might be damaged. Many people guessed Emo was lying, but since he didn't go solve any more restrictions himself, they couldn't say anything. Plus, they exchanged immortal ranges for things that immortal ranges couldn't buy, so they didn't complain. Most of them left the palace to search for more immortal range. Emo said that he would start solving the space formation door once he has rested up. If he did, then they might be able to leave as well. According to Yemo's words, he would only need a few years to solve it, so many immortal emperor went out searching for more immortal range during this time. When Emo started to study the space formation door, he realized it was so much harder than the restrictions. They were from the same origin, but the difficulty was completely different. 3 years later, Emo finally stopped studying. He had understood this space formation door. It wasn't something he could solve with his current cultivation level and formation skills. But once someone's cultivation reached a certain level, they could enter it even if they didn't understand formation. Hearing this, the rest of the immortal emperors were disappointed, but more of them chose to stay in the palace for solitary cultivation. Some with secrets chose to leave. Hichong stayed in here, but Emo left this palace. He had enough resources now, and he needed to go find a place for solitary cultivation and to break through to Immortal Emperor. In the Golden Page world, Emo used tens of extreme great immortal range, and the time formation disc ran for decades, but Emo found in shock that no matter how he used immortal range, he couldn't progress anymore. Theoretically, Emo should be able to progress to any level if he had enough cultivation resources. He cultivated the 3-birth chant and had the bitter bamboo. He almost had no bottleneck. When Emo reached Immortal Monarch tertiary stage and couldn't progress after wasting tens of immortal range, he began to worry. He was still that one step away from Immortal Monarch peak stage. If he couldn't reach Immortal Monarch peak stage, then he couldn't reach Immortal Emperor even if he had Tai Wei Emperor Pill. Unable to cultivate, Emo could only get out the things he got from the restriction and then study it again. He didn't know these 2 types of immortal spirit herb, but he was certain it was at least as good as clear spirit heart lotus. And that white jade stone that could nourish spirit sense, Emo only knew it was good but didn't know what it was. Unable to cultivate, Emo could only get out the things he got from the restriction and then study it again. He didn't know these 2 types of immortal spirit herb, but he was certain it was at least as good as clear spirit heart lotus. And that white jade stone that could nourish spirit sense, Emo only knew it was good but didn't know what it was. At last, Emo picked up the jade vase. He felt the thing inside this was the best. When Yemo's spirit sense carefully removed the restrictions, a frosty flow invaded his sea of consciousness, almost freezing his sea of consciousness. Real astral flame marrow? Emo blurted out immediately. He knew that only the real astral flame marrow would be this cold and not freeze. The next moment, Emo put a restriction on the jade vase without hesitation. He almost couldn't contain his excitement. His blue like morning sky was about to reach level 6 Immortal Flame. If it reached level 6 Immortal Flame and then devoured this astral flame marrow, it would definitely become a god flame, the #1 flame of the immortal realm. He heard that Zhua, he divine emperor, vindicated Tao through a flame. Although he wouldn't do that, the flame that devoured this would be the best of the best flame. By then, just how powerful would his heaven flame 9 suns be? When Yemo got back to the palace, he was dumbfounded. There was not a single person left in this palace. Yemo stepped in and found in shock that all the restriction had disappeared. Yemo remembered clearly that only tens of the restrictions were solved. How could there not be a single one left? Not only that, the space formation door was gone too. Yemo immediately sent He-Chong, Immortal Emperor, a message, but there was no response. Shadowless. Yemo immediately called out Shadowless. Even small ginseng came out since there was no one. Look at this, what is going on? Did everyone reach Immortal Emperor peak stage and then left through the space formation door? Even if they left, where's the space formation door? Yemo looked at the two with confusion. This is still the same place, but I feel the restrictions have been moved. Shadowless came to this conclusion. Yemo nodded. He felt Shadowless was right. This was still the same place, but everything else disappeared. Boss, would those people have left here already and only we remain? Shadowless became nervous. What are you nervous about? Even if you leave, you would still be staying in the chaos world. There's no fucking difference. The only difference is if Boss makes it out. Last time Xiaoyan, small ginseng suddenly thought of something and quickly stopped. Shadowless said in contempt, "You know nothing. Although that Boss is immortal monarch power, he's not scared of even that Feng Kong. So when I go out, I no longer have to hide in the Golden Page world." But you... Small ginseng immediately showed a look of surprise and joy and said without hesitation, "You don't understand. If you can go out, so can I," Shadowless thought and agreed. Shadowless was right. Yemo had devoured that many immortal ranges over the years. His cultivation level didn't increase, but that didn't mean his power didn't increase. His immortal essence power and sea of consciousness tenacity was no weaker than any immortal emperor. He even dared to test that Wuyin immortal emperor from the Wujiao Sound River. Yemo longed from Mu Xiaoyan and MOU immortal sect, and if people have ascended from MOU city. But now, he was trapped here, making him very desperate. He searched every corner of this palace, but still found nothing. Gonghua Heaven MOU immortal city was the outer city of MOU immortal sect. Those who wanted to go into MOU immortal sect had to go through MOU immortal city. Ever since the sect was established, it went straight up. Immortal kings came one by one, and eventually it became the sect with the most immortal kings in the low heaven domain. At the same time, it also became the strongest sect in the low heaven domains. It was great fortune for any immortal to join MOU immortal sect. Everyone in the low heaven domains wanted to join. MOU immortal sect was strong and had a newly ascended level 7 immortal pill, Grand Master Kumu. It was due to this that no one dared to start any trouble at MOU immortal sect, nor MOU immortal city. But today was different. The formation outside the city was forcefully broken, and the 2 golden immortal city guards were crushed to death. Since MOU immortal city was so developed, news spread very fast. By the looks of it, people were going to completely stamp the MOU immortal city. This news spread extremely fast. Soon, countless immortals came to watch and see who had the power and confidence to start trouble at MOU immortal city. Qianbei, MOU immortal sect, and MOU immortal city has always obeyed the rules and never offended Qianbei. Why did Qianbei come start trouble here? Lu Feng immediately came up, and before her stood a man with a ferocious look. She had reached immortal king for a while, and could tell this man was at least immortal monarch power. If they fought, she couldn't resist at all. There were a few people behind this man. They were all immortal king power. 2 were even immortal king peak stage. Lu Feng had guessed who this person was as she knew 2 of the people behind this immortal monarch. One was the Heaven Lord Alliance's Ji Dao immortal king Yangye. The other was by Qi immortal king Zhang Fankai. Both of them came from Heaven Lord Alliance. The Heaven Lord Alliance had 2 immortal monarchs, Chang Tian immortal monarch Wei Guang and Yu Xiang immortal monarch. Chang Tian, immortal monarch, hunted sect leader Luo and disappeared with Lu Jingquan. This person was definitely the other immortal monarch. Yuan Xiang, immortal monarch, was said to be much stronger than Chang Tian, immortal monarch. If Lu Feng knew an immortal monarch came, she would definitely not leave the sect. The sect protection formation was 100,000 void defense kill formation. Even an immortal monarch wouldn't be able to break it in a short time. The man sneered and said, "Mou immortal sect will cease to exist from today. Everything." Lu Feng's face changed and immediately said in shock, "Qianbei, my Mou immortal sect." The man was more annoyed, seeing Lu Feng interrupted him. "You're the sect leader of Mou immortal sect?" "Qianbei, Wanbei is Mou immortal sect vice sect leader Su Jingwen. Our sect has never intervened in any Gong Hua heaven matters, and usually we're very righteous. Why are you going to destroy us?" Su Jingwen was golden immortal tertiary stage now. Mou immortal sect had 5 immortal kings. Now, only Lu Feng and Kumu were here. Kumo only cultivated and concocted pills. As for Yin Hui, Hong Ling, and Rin Fu, they were out seeking resources and weren't in the sect. Otherwise, Yin Hui came from the Grand Heaven domains. She would be much more confident that Lu Feng. "You're the vice sect leader? A mere golden immortal?" The immortal monarch studied Su Jingwen in shock. Her cultivation speed was fast, and her looks were even better than before. "Yes, I'm the vice sect leader," Su Jingwen said. "Who is the sect leader to you? How can a mere golden immortal be vice sect leader?" The man yelled. He could guess who Su Jingwen was, but no matter if she was related to the sect leader or not, he had decided to take her away. He could guess who Su Jingwen was, but no matter if she was related to the sect leader or not, he had decided to take her away. Su Jingwen immediately knew things weren't good. She could tell from this person's tone that they had enmity with Yemo. Lu Feng was very cunning and knew things weren't good. Before Su Jingwen could talk, she saluted with his fist. "Qianbei, our sect leader has an immortal spirit herb garden in the sect. There are more than 10 level 8 and above immortal spirit herb and 1 emperor carrot. We're willing to give this over. Please let the Mou immortal sect go." "Emperor carrot?" the immortal monarch repeated. He really couldn't believe he could hear those words here. "Take me to the emperor carrot," the immortal monarch said. Regardless of whether it's real or fake, he wasn't afraid of the two playing tricks. Lu Feng showed a hard face. "Qianbei, why don't you wire it here, and we can take it for you?" "Ha!" The immortal monarch laughed, and then he stared coldly at Lu Feng. "If you don't take out the emperor carrot today, you will regret living in this world. I won't even let a dog live in Mou immortal sect." Lu Feng's face changed. "A mere immortal monarch dares to annihilate my Mou immortal sect? Pfft. The emperor shall see how you're going to do it." A contemptuous voice sounded, and a middle-aged man suddenly appeared outside Mou immortal city. "You!" The ferocious man looked at the middle-aged immortal in shock. The word emperor was too scary. Saying such word meant that this guy was an immortal emperor. Since when did Mou immortal sect have an immortal emperor? He didn't dare to believe it, but then he realized he couldn't see through the power of this person. The dominant pressure from this man made him realize this middle-aged immortal was an immortal emperor. Wanbei Low Heaven's Domain Heaven Lord Alliance. Yuan Xiang greet Immortal Emperor Master. The ferocious-looking man quickly bowed. Those few immortal kings behind didn't dare to show any disrespect. "You just said you were going to annihilate Mou immortal sect?" The immortal emperor said coldly. Yuan Xiang, immortal monarch, didn't have his previous dominance and quickly bowed. "Wanbei, don't dare to. It's a misunderstanding. I was tricked by someone." "Oh, I said nothing just then. How do you know it's a misunderstanding?" The immortal emperor scorned. Xiang Yuan, immortal monarch, sweated. He didn't know this king's sect had an immortal emperor? Feeling the killing intent of this immortal emperor rising, Yuan Xiang quickly said, "Wanbei was appointed by Feng Kong and Dragon River Grand Emperor to coordinate the 11 low heaven domains. If Wanbei knew you were from Mou immortal sect, Wanbei definitely wouldn't dare to come. Xiang Yuan quickly brought out Feng Kong and Dragon River to show that he was their dog. Otherwise, this immortal emperor could easily kill him. This immortal emperor frowned when Yuan Xiang spoke of Feng Kong Grand Emperor, but then he raised his arm and hacked off Yuan Xiang Immortal Monarch's arm and took the storage ring on it before throwing the arm down. Yuan Xiang didn't dare to move. He wanted to say, if you wanted my ring, I'll take it off myself. No need to hack off my arm. Is that so? If you knew I was from MOU Immortal Sect, you wouldn't dare to come? I can only say you're lucky, because if Sect Leader Yi came back, I can assure you that you won't live. Piss off. Hearing this, Xiang Yuan, Immortal Monarch, carefully picked up his arm and left with a bow. After they all had left, Lu Feng said shakily, MOU Immortal Sect, Lu Feng greet Immortal Emperor Master. Thank you for helping. Lu Feng didn't dare to believe an immortal emperor was of MOU Immortal Sect. Even in the Grand Heaven Domain, an immortal emperor would be respected everywhere. The immortal emperor smiled and waved his hand. No need to be so polite. Did you think I'm lying to you? MOU Immortal Sect can't have immortal emperor? Lu Feng dazed. How could she dare to say that an immortal emperor lied to her? The immortal emperor waved his hand. Although I'm not from MOU Immortal Sect, but they really do have an immortal emperor. Although that immortal emperor hasn't come, he will come eventually. Huh? Lu Feng and Su Jingwen were both dazed by the words of this middle-aged immortal emperor. The immortal emperor said again, you guys don't need to thank me. I know your sect leader Yemo. When he comes back, that immortal monarch will be nothing to him. The immortal emperor felt a little guilty. Those guys killed a few of MOU Immortal Sect's people, but he let that immortal monarch go. To be honest, he didn't want to give Feng Kong Grand Emperor any excuse. Otherwise, Feng Kong Grand Emperor might kill him immediately. Hearing Yi Mo's name, Su Jingwen immediately became excited and asked, Qianbei, have you seen my husband? Where is he? Your husband? The immortal emperor asked with a frown. Lu Feng quickly explained, Jingwen is our sect leader Ye's Dao partner, so she's very worried about sect leader Yi. Wanbei is too. Please tell us Qianbei. The middle-aged immortal emperor realized, and as an immortal emperor, he even saluted with his fists to Su Jingwen. So it's sect leader Ye's Dao partner. My bad. Sect leader Yi has helped me. I'm called Ji Lei. You guys can call me Ji Lei, immortal emperor. We don't dare to. Su Jingwen and Lu Feng answered. Ji Lei, immortal emperor, waved his hand. I respect sect leader Ye's power and character greatly. Although I haven't seen him, I know his power is far beyond mine now. I actually came to Gonghua Heaven to see if sect leader Yi was back, but I didn't see him, so I left. On the way, I heard other people say that people were attacking MOU Immortal Sect, so I came back to look. That person has a strong background. I can't casually kill him, but I'm sure that once sect leader Yi is back, he won't be able to escape. This immortal emperor was Ji Lei, immortal emperor. He hid in the lethal force space for a while and snuck back to the palace. Once there, he saw that almost all the immortal emperors were there. He didn't know Feng Kong Grand Emperor and them had gone in the space formation door, so he didn't mind seeing them there. Nor did he care that there were only 4 out of the 5 Immortal Emperor peak stage, and the 4 of them were weakened. But Feng Kong Grand Emperor's words made him sink into the bottom. Feng Kong Grand Emperor just asked, is the dustless fruit on him? And he knew that he wouldn't be able to keep it. It was impossible to keep the dustless fruit as an Immortal Emperor middle stage. Although his heart was bleeding, he had to give the fruit to the shameless Feng Kong Grand Emperor. Luckily, Feng Kong Grand Emperor gave him a blue fruit, saying that it would help him reach Immortal Emperor tertiary stage. Due to this, he didn't like Feng Kong Grand Emperor, but he didn't dare to overly offend him, so he didn't kill that immortal monarch. With the dustless fruit, Feng Kong Grand Emperor organized all the immortal emperors to attack the void formation door, and then the door cracked open. A small whirlpool appeared next to it, and it shrunk rapidly. Some immortal emperors charged in, and Ji Lei followed. After going in, he realized he was sent back to the void. After decades of searching, He finally came back to the immortal realm, and then he came to find Yemo immediately. Jile Immortal Emperor trusted Yi Mo's capabilities. He knew from He Chong Immortal Emperor that Yi Mo taught Li Long Immortal Emperor a lesson, and knew that He Chong Immortal Emperor joined Mou Immortal Sect. Jile Immortal Emperor trusted Yi Mo's capabilities. He knew from He Chong Immortal Emperor that Yi Mo taught Li Long Immortal Emperor a lesson, and knew that He Chong Immortal Emperor joined Mou Immortal Sect. He came here wanting to ask if Yi Mo could take on Feng Kong Grand Emperor, but didn't expect that Yi Mo wasn't back yet. Not only so, He Chong Immortal Emperor didn't come back as well. Qianbei, where can I find my husband? Su Jingwen asked nervously. This guy was an immortal emperor, the only one who knew news of Yi Mo. If he left, then it was all too hard to find news about Yi Mo again. Jile Immortal Emperor shook his head. Even if you're immortal emperor power, it's impossible to find sect leader Yi, much less you're in golden immortal. My suggestion is to cultivate here. I believe sect leader Yi will come back one day. Then Jile Immortal Emperor took out a communication bead, as well as the storage ring he took, and gave it to Su Jingwen. I've removed the restriction on this storage ring. This communication bead is mine. If the sect needs my help, or if sect leader Yi is back, you guys can contact me. I'll be leaving first. As soon as Su Jingwen took the things, Jile Immortal Emperor disappeared. Lu Feng looked at the empty grounds and her heart went on fire. From Jile Immortal Emperor, she knew that their sect leader Yi Mo was on par with an immortal emperor. How could one not progress in a sect like this? Jingwen, let's go back to the sect first. Work hard on cultivation. Only once your power is high can you go find the sect leader. Lu Feng said excitedly. Su Jingwen handed the things to Lu Feng. Sister Lu, let's leave the things with you. I don't have any use for it. I'm worried that after all these years, there's still not a second person from Luo Yu continent who has ascended. Unable to find an exit in the palace, Yi Mo could only return to that dangerous space to keep searching for immortal range, and then cultivate. Time passed quickly, and Yi Mo's power rose up drastically. Constantly staying at this lethal force space, his body refinement cultivation broke through immortal god body primary stage and reached immortal god body middle stage. Later on, those lethal force couldn't even reach his body and was smashed away. At the same time, Yi Mo's immortal essence kept rising, as well as his spirit sense and sea of consciousness. His heaven flame 9 suns even formed the 7th blue sun. His transmission god, art, was near level 4. His space shatter god, art, increased multiple times, and his 5 lightning spear destruction god, art, became invisible. However, his cultivation level won't increase. No matter how many extreme great immortal ranges he devoured, his cultivation level was stuck at that little bit from immortal monarch peak stage. This was the 107th year at this dimension. Shadowless also carried this ferocious chi, and the space lethal force couldn't get near Shadowless as well. Sometimes he would even devour it. Yi Mo had countless immortal ranges collected. They were stacked up in mountains in the Golden Page world. Today, Shadowless and Yi Mo came to the palace like usual. Yi Mo couldn't find any other way out except in this palace. So, he would come check this palace every 10 years to see if there was a way out. Every time, he would precisely check every corner in this palace, especially the backyard. The palace was still ancient, and Yi Mo still wasn't able to see through the secret of this palace. The palace was indestructible. But today, after checking the palace, Yi Mo didn't leave. He stared coldly at a cushioned seat and said, "Shadowless, block the exit. We can collect some debt." Shadowless said nothing and stopped at the gates. The instant Shadowless did so, a figure suddenly appeared in this palace. It was a black-faced man with a bitter smile. His cultivation level was Immortal Emperor primary stage. However, the chi from this Immortal Emperor couldn't trick Yi Mo. Yi Mo scorned at this Immortal Emperor and said, "Kaimi, you harmed another Immortal Emperor. I want to see where you can run to today." Then, Zissou was humming above Yimo's head. The purple sword rays spread out without Yimo needing to activate them. The black-faced man didn't release his magic artifact and said, Yimo, there's no point in killing me. It's at most venting your anger. This man was Kaimi. He was hiding everywhere in here, and meeting Yimo this time was a part of his plan. He didn't want to run, and he knew that although Yimo was only Immortal Monarch Tertiary stage, his Immortal Emperor primary stage was far weaker than Yimo, since I can still vent my anger. It means that killing you serves a purpose. Yimo didn't fear Kaimi at all. Yimo, if you kill me, you will never be able to leave. If you don't kill me, I can guarantee you a way out. I didn't plan to avoid you. If I did, you wouldn't even be able to find me. Kaimi suddenly said. Yimo frowned and said coldly, You can go out. Then why don't you go out? Why do you think you're lying to? Kaimi said calmly, Yimo, you know I'm a divine emperor, and you know this is my second time possessing. To me, I would never be able to return to my original power, and I would never be able to surpass you this entire life, so don't worry about me. I can't leave indeed, and I don't plan to leave. There are large amounts of immortal range in here, and I can use them for cultivation. Of course, the main thing is that I don't dare to go out. He paused and said, I can tell you some things you don't even know about. After you listen, you will know why I don't go out. Do you think with my current power I still need you to tell me things? Even if Feng Kong Grand Emperor comes, so what? Yimo sneered. Over the years, he had cultivated at least a few thousand years in the time formation disk. He really didn't fear Feng Kong Grand Emperor. Kaimi sneered, Feng Kong Grand Emperor is nothing. He's worse than trash in my eyes. Yimo said calmly, You're a Tao Vindication Divine Emperor. When you recover your power, of course, you won't consider Feng Kong Grand Emperor a threat. Tao Vindication Divine Emperor? Kaimi suddenly laughed and looked at Yimo more seriously. Yimo, in the immortal realm, Tao Vindication Divine Emperor is indeed the top, and in the ancient immortal realm, there was no Tao Vindication at all. But once you reach Tao Vindication Divine Emperor, you will know how insolent you are. Yimo didn't sneer at Kaimi this time. He knew that the stronger one got, the more they felt they didn't know. Tao Vindication Divine Emperor can have eternal life, destroy the world, or tear any voids, cross realms. Isn't that the top? Yimo asked seriously. Kaimi didn't sneer at Yimo this time and said plainly, Who told you Tao Vindication Divine Emperor has eternal life? I can tell you that I have yet to see someone with eternal life. I can't. Not even Truth Divine Emperor. Yimo's face went serious. He cultivated diligently to achieve eternity and then help the people around him to be eternal. Now, Kaimi said that even a Tao Vindication Divine Emperor couldn't have eternal life. He was a bit lost, but he believed that as a previous Divine Emperor, Kaimi wouldn't bullshit about this. Realizing this, Yimo saluted with his fists. Kaimi, I heard that Tao Vindication is very hard, and you need all sorts of ways. Since you can vindicate Tao, why can't you attain eternal life? Tao Vindication is hard? Kaimi laughed in self-mockery. Do you now Tao Seeking Towers? Yimo nodded. Of course he knew. He had been in there in Yuan Le Heaven. There's 9 levels to the Tao Seeking Tower. The first 6 levels are Heart Demon Tao, Arts Tao, Magic Tao, God Art Tao, Law Tao, Reincarnation Tao. Many people know these 6 Taos, and many have gone in. There's 9 levels to the Tao Seeking Tower. The first 6 levels are Heart Demon Tao, Arts Tao, Magic Tao, God Art Tao, Law Tao, Reincarnation Tao. Many people know these 6 Taos, and many have gone in. Then, Kaimi's tone changed, but rarely do people go into the last 3 levels. Even if people do, they can't understand what's inside. The 7th level is called Great God Arts Tao. Level 8 is called Chaos Tao. 9th level is blank. No one can understand it. Yimo didn't know why Kaimi said these things. Before Yimo asked, Kaimi continued, actually, although there were 9 people in the immortal realm that vindicated Tao, but those were side Taos, including Truth Divine Emperor's Tao. Then, The immortal realm crumbled, and people couldn't even vindicate Sai Daos. Tell me more. Yemo was shocked. This was the first time he heard that the 9 Dao vindicators of the immortal realm vindicated Sai Daos. Kaimi said heavily, Sai Dao doesn't mean that you can't become a powerful being. If you keep pressing forward, you can still become a powerful being and reach the pinnacle. Then, even Kaimi shook his head. But that's too hard. It's almost impossible. What is a Sai Dao? Yemo asked again. Kaimi said the so-called Sai Dao is vindicating Dao through a great God art. For example, my law Dao vindication or Baijua's flame Dao vindication. When you learn a great God art law in the Dao Seeking Tower and convert your God art to great God art, you can use it to vindicate Dao if you're talented enough. Great God art has the power to turn the world over. When Baizhua vindicated Dao, one speck of his flame could burn an entire planet. Yemo sort of understood this, but he didn't keep asking Kaimi about this. Instead, he asked, Kaimi, Divine Emperor, why did you say that you can't attain eternity even after Dao vindication? Kaimi showed a sliver of sneer. Eternity? Yemo, I admit you're a prodigy amongst prodigy. You have the best fortune and the most powerful talent, but no matter how you cultivate, you wouldn't be able to be eternal. If Dao vindication meant eternity, then Truth Divine Emperor wouldn't be beaten till only a sliver of his soul remained in the void. I wouldn't only have a sliver of essence spirit left. The rest of the few Divine Emperor's souls completely perished. Yemo touched his chin. This was the first time he heard someone say his talent was good, but he didn't interrupt. Kaimi also showed a look of confusion. It said in the ancient times, there's a realm above the immortal realm. Some people call it God realm. Some people call it divine realm. But later, that realm shattered and disappeared. The realm that disappeared, Yemo murmured. He thought of the words that appeared with his king naming. God realm disappeared, stars don't show. Chaos reopen, order resettle. Yes, the realm that disappeared. Kaimi said, definitely, ever since that realm disappeared, the world shall have no more eternity. After Immortal Emperor, people started to use the great God arts of Dao Seeking Tower for Dao vindication. When the first person succeeded, he became the first Divine Emperor. Then people used all sorts of methods to vindicate Dao. A few people succeeded, but compared to the countless cultivators, the successful people were too little. Seeing Yemo about to ask, Kaimi waved his hand and continued, Dao vindication is just the first step. Divine Emperor is an arrogant title. Because highest realm in immortal realm is Dao vindication, so they are called Divine Emperor. In actual fact, Dao vindication is the beginning of Dao art. The first step after Dao vindication is Dao molding. The second step is Dao nourishment. The third step is Dao actualization. Only one who reaches Dao actualization Divine Emperor can be called Divine Emperor. Yemo was very shocked. If you don't reach that step, you would never know how far that step was. So only once you're a Dao actualization Divine Emperor can you be called Divine Emperor. Yemo murmured to himself. Kaimi sneered. Dao actualization? Dao actualization is nothing? After Dao actualization, you can gather your Dao into essence to achieve Dao essence Divine Emperor, and after that there is primordial essence Divine Emperor. In fact, even primordial essence Divine Emperor isn't the strongest Divine Emperor. Whether or not that is eternal life, I don't know, but that's not something I can know. Yemo took in a cold breath. He thought he was at the pinnacle of the immortal realm, but he found he was still too far from that pinnacle. Luckily, there was nothing that could threaten him in the immortal realm now. Those who could threaten him were only Divine Emperors, but it's said that after the ancient battle, they all disappeared, so he didn't need to worry. How do you know there's 3 steps to Dao vindication, and there's Dao Essence Divine Emperor and Primordial Essence Divine Emperor after Dao Actualization Divine Emperor? Yemo asked. Kaimi didn't answer Yemo and asked instead, do you know how the 33 heaven domains of the immortal realm came to be? Yemo nodded. I heard it's caused by the battle of the Divine Emperor Great Battles. If I'm not wrong, you were probably in that battle too, right? Why did many divine emperors attack Truth Divine Emperor? Kami nodded. That did indeed happen. After that battle, everyone was injured, but we're all from the immortal realm. Only if our brains are fried would we ruin our own foundation. Do you think we would battle in the immortal realm and shatter the immortal realm, causing laws to not even be complete? You guys didn't break the immortal realm into 33 heavens? Yemo asked in shock. Kaimi reminisced the ancient times. The immortal realm was indeed split due to a battle, but it's not that we broke it intentionally. Due to the limitations of the immortal realm laws, when we're at our stage, we can sense if new people reach Tao Vindication. In the immortal realm, it's always been 9 divine emperors. But one day, we sensed a more powerful person appear in the immortal realm at the same time. If it was before, Yemo would be shocked and ask what was stronger than Tao Vindication Divine Emperor. But now, he knew that even Truth Divine Emperor wasn't the strongest. Kami continued, at the same time, we appeared before that figure. That person was covered in wounds. He was heavily injured, but the chi coming from his body shook us. That chi made us realize that if he wasn't injured, we couldn't beat him even if all 9 of us joined up. So, you guys joined up to fight that guy? Yemo immediately asked. Kaimi nodded. That person was rather polite. He first apologized for appearing at the immortal realm, causing us to worry. He said he didn't do it intentionally, and when he healed, he would leave the immortal realm immediately. However, his greedy eyes exposed that he definitely wouldn't be leaving right after he healed. What we didn't expect was that Truth Divine Emperor was the first to ambush him. At the same time, Truth Divine Emperor sound transmissioned us that this person had the secret to surpassing Divine Emperor and potential eternal life. If we didn't join up and this guy healed, he might kill us and control the entire immortal realm. In fact, other than Truth Divine Emperor, a few others were planning to attack that guy. Even I was planning to attack because his eyes were too scary. With that, everyone attacked that person at the same time. But after fighting, we realized that despite being heavily injured, that person was still countless times stronger than us. We were no match for him even after joining up. That battle faded the light of stars and the sun. We were from the immortal realm and worried about the immortal realm continent, but that person didn't care at all. His god art was great god art that we had never heard of before. The immortal realm actually cracked under his magic artifact. We had never seen someone with such terrifying god art. He could annihilate an immortal emperor with one breath. Even if you go to Qing Wei Heaven now, you can see Qing Wei Abyssal River. If an ordinary person goes over, he would be annihilated by the murderous qi there. This is because the river was created by that person's palm. After all these years, that person's killing intent is still there. Kaimi said with great after fear. What happened later? Yemo asked. Kaimi murmured. The immortal realm laws had formed, but this person could break it and shatter the immortal realm, causing laws to be incomplete. This was a heavenly means because the immortal realm was stable, so despite breaking the immortal realm, it allowed the immortal realm to form the number of heavenly gang, 36 heaven domains. Kami continued, that person is too scary. In his fury, he formed a huge essence chi palm and grabbed a heaven domain, smashing at Wuchen Divine Emperor. Wuchen was smashed to death with a heaven domain. Then he grabbed 2 more heaven domains. Yemo took in a cold breath. He knew that some immortal emperor and divine emperor could spirit control a planet, and heard that Zhuohe Divine Emperor could burn an entire planet, but in the vast space, there were too many planets. Most planets compared to a heaven domain was just a speck of dust. Yemo took in a cold breath. He knew that some immortal emperor and divine emperor could spirit control a planet, and heard that Zhuohe Divine Emperor could burn an entire planet, but in the vast space, there were too many planets. Most planets compared to a heaven domain was just a speck of dust. He came from Earth. If the Earth was thrown into Luo Yu continent's heartless sea, it wouldn't even cause a splash. Yet, any heaven domain of the immortal realm was countless times bigger than Luo Yu continent, and such a heaven domain was grabbed by hand to smash people? This was unimaginable. Even if an immortal emperor can damage a heaven domain through battle and might even split apart a heaven domain with powerful magic artifact and god art, but this was a far cry from grabbing a heaven domain and smashing people with it. Isn't this person almost Tao actualization divine emperor? Yemo asked in shock. Kaimi shook his head. According to my guess, this person is beyond Tao actualization divine emperor. He's probably almost Tao essence divine emperor. How does no one hear of such a powerful person afterwards? Yemo asked. In fact, we all thought it was over, but Truth Divine Emperor hid his cultivation level. Kaimi sighed. The immortal realm was above to crack. In that time of desperation, Truth Divine Emperor's cultivation level suddenly rose and released a primordial spirit treasure, Immortal Carnage Tower, that we had never known about. At that moment, we were all dazed, but even that heavily injured person was dead. He watched as he was locked on by Immortal Carnage Tower and smashed. I remembered his last words were primordial spirit treasure. In such a realm, you had reached down nourishment. You're saying that guy was killed by Truth Divine Emperor's Immortal Carnage Tower? Yemo shivered thinking of that ghost ship. This Truth Divine Emperor was a really scary guy. That's right. After that guy was smashed by the Immortal Carnage Tower, he released a magic artifact wanting to smash open the Immortal Carnage Tower, but the tower was too scary. Although his power was stronger than Truth Divine Emperor, and he seemed to have heavily injured Truth Carnage Tower, his soul was still annihilated. The Immortal Carnage Tower can annihilate all essence spirit. Not a speck of dust was left. Kami said definitely. But after Truth Divine Emperor used the Immortal Carnage Tower, his spirit was withered and his face pale. Even a fool could tell he was at his wit's end. What we didn't expect was that Zhuohe Divine Emperor ambushed Truth Divine Emperor at this time and transmission to the rest of us. Kaimi showed a sliver of helplessness and bitterness. I heard Truth Divine Emperor was very arrogant and cocky. He never showed respect to the other Divine Emperors and always cursed at them. Was this why Zhuohe Divine Emperor ambushed him? Yemo asked. Kaimi sneered. Truth Divine Emperor cocky? He's more forbearing than anyone? Zhuohe Divine Emperor's daughter fell in love with Truth Divine Emperor, but after Truth Divine Emperor took over her, he abandoned her. This might be the reason why Zhuohe Divine Emperor wanted to ambush Truth Divine Emperor. Of course, this is just my guess. Yemo was speechless. This was completely different to the street story he heard. He heard that Truth Divine Emperor pointed at the Divine Emperor daughter and said, "You are mine now." Zhuohe Divine Emperor was successful in his ambush. We knew that Truth Divine Emperor was very strong and bleak, so we all attacked. In the end, Truth Divine Emperor self-destructed, and we didn't end up good either. Other than one or two, the rest of us lost our bodies. After my body crippled, my essence spirit was greatly depleted, but I had a broken truth spirit world, and I robbed a bloody spear. The spear came from that master. The information about Tao vindication came from the spear. I used a blood spear too, so I fused the two spears. Kami said. Yemo was very shocked, but his face was calm. You stayed here to tell me all this and let you go? You know I have the time formation disc and perhaps the truth spirit world and chaos tree. Do you think I would let you go? Yours is truth spirit world? Kaimi repeated in shock and was a little disappointed. He thought Yemo had a chaos world. Yemo knew Kaimi was very cunning, and there was no way he would admit he had chaos world. Kaimi didn't doubt Yemo's words. He didn't believe Yemo could get chaos world. Now that Yemo admitted it himself, he was disappointed, but he believed it. Truth Spirit World was still the most top-level thing. He relied on it to stay alive many times before. That Truth Spirit World eventually cracked in the bluish-gray space. I know your things are treasures in the immortal realm, but if you agree not to kill me, I can swear I won't spill it. I can even sever the memories of this away. Of course, I don't want you to just not kill me. As for whether or not you agree, let me finish first. Kami took out a jade slip to Yemo and said, there are things recorded in here that you have never seen before. It's organized from what I found in the blood spear. At my level, I know I wouldn't be able to catch up to you. Our path will be different in the future. I can't threaten you at all, and the dangers you face are much greater than me. Yemo scanned his spirit sense in the jade slip. He immediately saw many things he had never seen before, including the blue fruit he got from the restriction. It was called Emperorwood Blue Fruit. Yemo immediately knew this jade slip was very important to him. He took it without hesitation. Kaime's threat was very huge, and he didn't really plan on letting this person go, but he wasn't not going to take such good things. We came from the Star Beast place. They usually live at the border of a realm, so we're also at the border region. This palace has an ancient chi and a chi that doesn't belong to the immortal realm. I've seen this chi before. The person who suddenly appeared in the immortal realm also had this chi. This means that the palace and that person came from the same place. Kaime looked calmly at Yemo and said, "Phone Kong, those idiots forcefully attacked the Formation Foundation and actually broke a crevice into the void here. Although those idiots got away, the void fissure closed too. However, the Formation Foundation sealing the chi here was opened. At the same time, the chi of the palace is seeping out. One day, those powerful beings not belonging to the immortal realm would sense this chi and come to the immortal realm." "How are you so certain?" Yemo asked in disbelief. Kaime said heavily, "You haven't seen the eyes of that outsider. It was pure frenzy and joy. It means that they saw a more beautiful place than they lived. His face showed that he wanted to eat the entire immortal realm. Later on from the blood spear, I realized how harsh their environment was. Some of this is my guess. Some of this is information from the blood spear. They belong to a higher realm, but for some reason that realm crumbled and disappeared. And at that realm, the laws are broken too. This made them leave that broken realm and went to a place called the God Necropolis Domain to live." "God Necropolis Domain?" Yemo asked in confusion. This name was too strange. He had been to Immortal Graveyard Valley and Long Graveyard Valley. He knew that places related to graveyards were usually barren and bleak. If the God Necropolis Domain was a place like that, then living there would be harsh. Kaime said, "That's right, the God Necropolis Domain. The powerful being killed by the Truth Divine Emperor came from there somehow. Think about it. If those people knew there was a place as beautiful as the immortal realm, would they let it go?" Yemo frowned. "The 33 heaven domains are very big. Even if we have them, it's fine." Kaime sneered. "Do you know what those people are? Would they live here quietly? I'm certain that as soon as they come, the first thing they would do is take away every heaven domain and then spirit control it into their truth spirit world. The people of Immortal Realm are worse than livestock to them." Yemo's face changed. Their realm was broken and the beautiful environment was gone. If they came to the Immortal Realm, how could they just find a place to live? He was too naive. "I really didn't expect it." Yemo saluted with his fists and admitted to his mistake. "I really didn't expect it." Yemo saluted with his fists and admitted to his mistake. Kaime waved his hand. "You haven't seen their power, it's normal. Now I'm going to talk about this palace. I don't know who set this palace up, but I'm certain that the Qianbei who set it up did so to seal the passage between that realm and the immortal realm. Perhaps this was to protect the immortal realm, but the Formation Foundation was broken by those idiots. Why didn't you stop them?" Yemo's face changed. Kaime said with contempt, "Do you know whose body this is? It's Phone Kong's henchman. If I came out, I would probably be killed by Phone Kong before I could even talk. Even if he listened to me, he would still kill me. Since they opened the space here and you can leave through the void, why didn't you leave?" Yemo asked again. Kaime sighed. "What's the difference? I didn't have the chance to go, but even if I did, I feel there's no meaning. The formation here is broken. The immortal realm will definitely be discovered by the people of the other realm. Once that happens, they would come to the immortal realm and spirit control all the heaven domains. Even if I go out to any heaven domain, I will still be spirit controlled." Yemo realized what Kaime meant. Kaime thought that he had the chaos world. That's why he stayed to see him. But Yemo was thinking about who set up this huge formation. Since that person did this, it meant his power was immense and wouldn't be going back to the broken realm. How come he hasn't heard of such a person? Because I had a broken true spirit world, and I thought you had the chaos world. I wanted to join you. But you don't have it. The true spirit world is good enough. I'm willing to hand over my soul print and give you the way out of here if you protect me, Kaimi said. Yemo sneered. And then possess me like you did to Lu Jingxuan, right? Kaimi smiled bitterly. I can't even possess it all now. Your sea of consciousness is probably much, much stronger than mine. Plus, if I give you my soul seal, you can kill me with one thought. How can I possess you? Plus, I have a body now. How do I possess you? Now that Kaimi said this, Yemo felt Kaimi was right. Thinking about this, Yemo nodded. Then hand over your soul seal and tell me how to get out. I'm the sect leader of MO, you immortal sect. You will be one of my sect members now. Yes, sect leader, Kaimi said, and then severed a sliver of soul seal without hesitation. Yemo grabbed the soul seal and immediately knew that Kaimi was being honest. He could really kill Kaimi with one thought. At this moment, Yemo's face relaxed and patted Kaimi's shoulder. Kaimi, as long as you don't talk shit and do wrong things, I will let you live very well. Okay, tell me how to get out of here. Yemo was certain that his formation skills were beyond level 7 Immortal Formation Grandmaster, but after hearing Kaimi, he realized that many things couldn't be solved with just formation skills. Kaimi was just a level 7 Immortal Formation Grandmaster, but his experience was much greater than Yemo's. With his help, Yemo found the formation door he couldn't find in 100 years within just 45 minutes. After leaving the void formation door, Yemo let Kaimi move to the side. He didn't use Kaimi's method and opened another void on the void foam Kong, and them opened. That way, the immortal realm would be exposed faster. Yemo derived the space formation door while thinking about how to remedy the leak cheap at the same time. He was thinking about who had the power to set up such a formation. Kaimi didn't care at first, but later on he noticed something wrong. Yemo's powerful formation Dao rune made him feel that even his own formation skills were improving. Kaimi's heart skipped, and only now did he truly feel how extraordinary Yemo was. He released such powerful Dao waves when he was just deducing formation. How powerful would it be when he was cultivating? Kaimi soon sat and felt Yemo's Dao waves. His body was destroyed, and he slumbered in the truth spirit world for countless years. After waking up, he possessed bodies twice. He had long lost the possibility of seeking Dao again. Yet, feeling Yemo's Dao waves now, he had new hopes. Time flew by, and in another decade, Yemo suddenly woke up and started to build formation flags. Seeing Yemo use refined star rock and immortal flame blue like morning sky, even Kaimi was dumbfounded. Even Truth Divine Emperor didn't have this many good things. But soon he woke up. What was Yemo doing? Looking at Kaimi's inquisitive look, Yemo said, Kaimi, you're right. This formation door is indeed the formation foundation of this dimension. It's been damaged heavily, and the chi is spilling. I finally understand why there are so many immortal ranges here. They are the immortal spirit chi source for this formation. A powerful being set them here, and now we dug so many away. The formation foundation was also damaged by Feng Kong, that bastard. You want to repair this formation foundation? Kaimi asked in shock. Yemo shook his head. I don't have the ability to repair it, but I can remedy the situation. I can't stop the chi from spilling, but I can delay it. I don't know exactly how long I can delay it for. Kaimi was astonished. He didn't expect Yemo could repair such a powerful formation foundation. Seeing Kaimi's shocked eyes, Yemo could only explain. In fact, I'm setting up another simple stealth formation. I can't connect it to the original formation. When Yemo got out, he would use the time he bought to bring up his power. Even if he couldn't reach that Dao Actualization Divine Emperor or Dao Essence Divine Emperor, he would at least have to reach Immortal Emperor. If possible, he hoped he could use his Golden Page world to vindicate DOA. Another year later, Yemo turned all his refined star rock into formation flags. This hurt his heart a bit. He could have used it to upgrade Zisu. Seeing Yemo throw out tens of extreme, great immortal ranges to provide immortal spirit chi, Kaimi respected Yemo. Kaimi, why did that Qianbei leave this palace and so many restrictions? Why did he leave behind a formation door? Isn't that giving people a chance to break it? And why did those restrictions disappear? Yemo asked. Kaimi thought and said, I've thought about this many times as well. Maybe that powerful being did this on purpose. He probably didn't expect so many immortal emperors to come here. If only one person came, then the powerful being left the door for him to leave. As for the things inside the restriction, it was probably for people to reach Immortal Emperor Peak, so they can leave. I know a few Immortal Emperor Peak stages left through the Void Formation door, but they didn't get out. They came back and broke the formation foundation, Yemo said with confusion. Kaimi rubbed his head. I don't understand this either. Then he looked expectantly at Yemo. Do you have a way out now? Yemo nodded. I do. Then Yemo threw out a few formation flags he didn't use. It can open this place for a few seconds. Just follow me. As soon as Yemo spoke, a crevice opened up. Yemo took Shadowless and went inside immediately. Kaimi followed Yemo without hesitation. After the two left, the crevice shut immediately and the palace became dead silent again. Yemo stayed in the void and didn't leave immediately. He left a few formation flags here. When he was strong enough, he would come back to repair this formation and completely stealth the immortal realm. Three years later, Fendu Heaven Jia Kuei Immortal City. 3 years later, Fendu Heaven Jia Kuei Immortal City. A blue-robed young man walked into the city. He carried a sword immortal artifact on his back. From head to toe, he was dressed in the most ordinary clothes. Jia Kuei Immortal City was the largest immortal city in the Grand Heaven Domain because many immortal ships left from here. People gathered here for the opening of secret realms. Kuei-jia Immortal City had a ruin itself, and so it was usually always full here. Those who could come to Kuei-jia Immortal City would at least wear immortal armor, even if it was low-grade immortal armor. No one dressed like this young man, but since no one could see through his power, people didn't dare to look at him. This was Yemo. He came to Fendu Heaven as soon as he and Kai Mi came back to the immortal realm. One was because that Fendu Heaven was the closest to get back, and the second was because Sanyi was in Fendu Heaven. He was hunted by Wuhui, Immortal Emperor, at the Wujia Sound River, and Yemo had been worried what happened to Yi and Dingjie. Although he knew the Wujia Sound River didn't dare to do anything to the two, he was still worried. So when he came back, he went to Fendu Heaven immediately. When things here were over, he would search for Xiaoyan. Xiaoyan disappeared from Wujia Sound River. Even if he couldn't find her, he would make Ween Immortal Emperor pay. The first thing Kaimi did was to go pick up the things he left behind, so he separated with Yemo at Fendu Heaven. Yemo had been to Jia Immortal City a few times. He knew this city was very busy, and he hid his power to Immortal King Middle Stage. He publicly announced he hid his power before, so all the immortal emperors he had seen didn't know his cultivation level. This way, if he exposed his cultivation level, people would only think he was already Immortal Monarch Tertiary Stage. If he didn't expose his cultivation level, then when he reached Immortal Emperor, he would say he was already Immortal Emperor. No matter how strong he was, he shouldn't get public outrage. If everyone knew he had Time Formation Disc, then he would be attacked by everyone. Truth Divine Emperor was a good example. Yemo came to this city wanting to use the teleportation formation here to go to Jiufan Immortal Pond, but when his spirit sense scanned a purple-robed man, he immediately changed his plan. He could tell this purple-robed man was Immortal Emperor Tertiary Stage and was the image that Ji Lei Immortal Emperor showed him. This person appearing here was probably so he could auction the stone stool again. He didn't dare to buy it before, but if this guy still dared to sell it here, then don't blame him. Thinking about this, Yemo didn't follow this man and instead found the most luxurious immortal rest tower in the city. He wanted to ask around if there was a large auction in the city. If there was an auction, he would buy the stone stool. If there was no auction, then he would follow this man out of the city and rob him. He was Immortal Monarch Tertiary Stage, but he had been stuck here for so long and used so many immortal ranges. He didn't believe he would be scared of a mere immortal Emperor tertiary stage. Plus, Yemo had to have that stone stool. He didn't know how long the formation in that palace could cover up the immortal realm's chi. If those powerful beings came to the immortal realm, it would be a catastrophe. Only if he perfected his chaos world could he take the people with him away. He didn't know what was going on with Jia Kuei Immortal City, but there were many people in the city, and the immortal rest towers were full. As an immortal king, Yemo was immediately respected upon walking in. However, the tower had no seats, and even the lobby was full. These immortals came from everywhere, and all sat in the lobby clearly to get some more news. Yemo knew that if he asked someone to move off a table, no one would object, but Yemo didn't like doing that. "Qianbei, I'm going to leave, you can sit here." An honest-looking great eternity immortal got up and saluted with his fist to Yemo. Yemo immediately replied, "Thank you, friend." Yemo sat down, and the attendant on the side immediately came up asking what tea or fruit Yemo wanted. He was afraid that Yemo would get angry for having no seat. "Give me any kettle of immortal spirit tea." Yemo took out 1,000 top-grade immortal crystals. Spending 1,000 top-grade immortal crystals for just a kettle of tea. The nearby people could already tell Yemo was wealthy. Everyone quietened down, with Yemo's cultivation level being Immortal King middle stage. Yemo was speechless. With a high cultivation level, he couldn't even find out some news here. The attendant took out a jade kettle from his storage ring and took out a jade cup, pouring a cup of tea for Yemo. "Wait." Seeing the attendant was about to leave, Yemo stopped him. The attendant was just a golden immortal. Seeing Yemo stop him, he quickly stopped and asked carefully, "Qianbei, what other orders do you have?" Just when he wanted to ask if there was some big auction in the city, Yemo's spirit sense scanned a familiar figure who was hurrying out of the city. Yemo rejoiced and immediately dashed out of the immortal rest tower. He saw the first immortal king he had seen in the immortal realm. He only knew this female immortal was a blue dress status immortal, but didn't know her cultivation level. Now he could see it clearly. She was an immortal king middle stage. She was probably an immortal king middle stage before as well. Yemo was excited because Nie Shuang Shuang was taken away by her. Finding her meant finding Nie Shuang Shuang. He really wanted to know how she was doing. Yu Xie was very anxious. As soon as she reached the city with her martial sister, she received her martial sister, Yu Xiang's urgent call. She was hurrying over there, but not long after leaving the city, she was stopped. She could immediately tell that the person who stopped her was an immortal king middle stage. She was desperate, but she didn't dare to get angry. "You are..." Yu Xie recognized Yemo, and there was inexpressible shock in her face. Yemo smiled. "That's right. I'm the person whom you said could at most reach Golden Immortal, but I'm not here today to repeat that. I'm here to thank you for saving my friend Nie Shuang Shuang, and I want to take her away. Of course, I'll compensate you for that. You're already an immortal king? This?" She stared at Yemo with pure shock, forgetting to even ask how Yemo came to the Grand Heaven Domain. How many years had it been? The hollow immortal she saw became an immortal king. She said he could at most reach Golden Immortal, but now she was still Immortal King middle stage while the hollow immortal reached Immortal King middle stage. Yemo stopped her. "That isn't the point. The point is, where is Nie Shuang Shuang? Is she okay?" Yemo's tone was getting impatient. The Immortal King suddenly realized what she needed to do and quickly said, "Shuang Shuang is fine. My martial sister is in danger. I need to go see her first." Then, the blue-dressed Immortal King dashed away. Yemo frowned, but didn't stop her and followed behind instead. "Brother Yi, I'm Yu Xie. I was wrong about what I said before. Sorry. Shuang Shuang is fine. After I find my martial sister, I'll tell you more." Yu Xie saw Yemo followed over and quickly explained. She even felt she was no match for Yemo, so she was very polite. "Brother Yi, I'm Yu Xie. I was wrong about what I said before. Sorry. Shuang Shuang is fine. After I find my martial sister, I'll tell you more." Yu Xie saw Yemo followed over and quickly explained. She even felt she was no match for Yemo, so she was very polite. Yemo was anxious about Nye Shuang Shuang, but she had to go save her martial sister. Everything was good as long as Nye Shuang Shuang was fine. Plus, he knew this martial sister of Yuxie. It was probably that young girl who was great eternity immortal. Yemo's spirit sense soon scanned the young girl who played with him, but helped him. She was stopped by two immortal kings, one immortal king middle stage and one immortal king tertiary stage who was very tall. A small bear-like immortal spirit beast rested on her shoulder with a sliver of fear in its eyes. The fiery red fur of the immortal spirit beast was very catchy. Martial sister. Yuxiang already saw Yuxie and called out. She still looked like a young girl and had a huge chest. Seeing people come, the two immortal kings didn't talk and just looked at Yuxie. Yuxie knew her martial sister caused trouble and quickly went up to the two immortal king and saluted with her fists. My martial sister is immature. If she offended you too, please forgive her. Haha, a person who cultivated to great eternity, immortal has lived for countless years, and you say she's immature? Do you think I'm a fool? Or are you a fool? The tall-looking immortal king tertiary stage laughed and scorned. Yuxie heard this and knew that Yuxiang caused quite some trouble this time. Her face changed, and she yelled, "What did you do?" Yuxiang knew things weren't good, and she didn't have time to look at Yemo. She just said sadly, "I just caught an ordinary immortal spirit beast and roasted it with Nuan, but they say the immortal spirit beast belonged to them." She really wanted to say that the immortal spirit beast wasn't necessarily theirs and wasn't necessarily a spirit-seeking rabbit, but she knew this wasn't the low or middle heaven domain. Hearing this, the immortal king middle stage moved his eyes away from Yemo and coldly said, "You ate our spirit-seeking rabbit, and you say it's not ours. Do you see spirit-seeking rabbits everywhere?" Yuxie's face changed. If it really was a spirit-seeking rabbit, then even if they gave everything, they wouldn't be able to compensate for that. Although her martial sister liked to do some cheeky things, she wouldn't be that dumb. Although she knew that she couldn't afford to compensate it, Yuxie still asked, "Dao friends, my martial sister is indeed immature. May I ask how to compensate for this spirit-seeking rabbit?" "We will try our best to compensate to you." "Compensate? Can you afford it? My spirit-seeking rabbit can find an immortal range in a month and tens of level 7 and higher immortal spirit herbs. How are you going to compensate us?" The tall immortal king tertiary stage sneered. Yuxie's face went pale. She really couldn't afford it. This was the grand heaven domain. She didn't even have a place to ask for help. Small Ginseng laughed and sound transmission to Yemo. "I don't know if the spirit-seeking rabbit was eaten by the girl, but I know the bear on her shoulder is an immortal range bear." Yemo has heard of immortal range bears before. He didn't expect it to be so small and red-haired. The immortal range bears ate immortal crystals and immortal ranges and could find the best immortal ranges immediately. But Yemo knew it wasn't very rare and precious. It grew very slowly, and only when it matured could it find immortal ranges. Yemo didn't know if Yuxiang ate their spirit-seeking rabbit, but he was certain the two immortal kings recognized Yuxiang's red bear was an immortal range bear. "What's going on, you tell me?" Yemo walked up. "You're Yemo." Yuxiang recognized Yemo immediately. She didn't see Yemo at first, but now she immediately said in surprise and joy, "You're actually at the grand heaven domain. Your cultivation level definitely won't be golden immortal." Yemo, I can't see your cultivation level." Seeing Yuxiang's joy and her completely different attitude to her martial sister, Yemo was happy too. Before Yemo said anything, Yuxie reproached, "Yuxiang, martial brother Yi is an immortal king now. Don't be so casual." "Yemo, you're really an immortal king. My martial sister said you would be golden immortal at most, haha." In Yuxiang's eyes, Yemo was still the noob who bought returned soul fruit at a low-level marketplace. Yuxie said helplessly, "Brother Yi, I'm really sorry, my martial sister." Yemo waved his hand. "It's fine, we're old friends. I'm happy she calls me Yemo Yuxiang. Tell me what happened before? If it's not your fault, I'll help you get justice." A mere immortal king middle stage dares to get justice. Piss off. If you utter one more word, I'll slay you here, the tall, immortal king tertiary stage said in contempt. Yemo's face sunk. Piss off. Regardless whether your rabbit was eaten, you can piss off. Huh? The immortal king laughed in anger. So arrogant. I've really never seen someone as arrogant as you. Before he finished, his purple-runed ghost scissors was released. It turned into two huge blades and cut at Yemo. Yusia immediately felt the powerful immortal king domain. Her face changed. She knew she was no match upon seeing this immortal king domain. Before Yusia could react, Yemo kicked. This was a casual kick, no god art nor space lethal force. Yusia dazed. An ordinary kick attacking half-extreme, grade immortal artifact scissors. Was Yemo a fake immortal king, or was his head dumb? This tall immortal king was dazed too. He didn't expect there to be such an idiot. Was this guy dumb? But immediately he noticed something wrong. If Yemo was an idiot, how could he kick in his immortal king domain? Rumble. When they were still dazed, Yemo's foot struck the scissors. That ordinary kick suddenly caused space whirlpools the instant before it hit the scissors. The space lethal force and immortal king domain of the immortal king tertiary stage was dissipated in this kick. The scissors was kicked away like an ordinary metal scissors. Meanwhile, this tall immortal king spat a few mouthfuls of blood due to the backlash. This didn't end. His immortal king domain spun rapidly and instantly pulverized his own arms. The tall immortal king was dazed. He had never thought that someone could kick his scissors away just by standing there and then twist his arms with his own immortal king domain. The other fatter immortal king, Yuxia and Yuxiang, were also completely dazed. What immortal king was this? Even the strongest immortal monarch shouldn't be able to do this. Seeing Yemo walk towards him, the tall immortal king called out in shock, "I'm a sect member of Black Lightning Emperor sect. If you dare to kill me, you will die." Yemo laughed. "This is the first time I heard of Black Lightning Emperor sect. I'm going to kill you. What can Black Lightning Emperor sect do to me?" But Yemo didn't attack immediately and instead glared coldly towards the city. At the same time, a sneer sounded. "This emperor shall see who dares to kill my Black Lightning Emperor sect's member." The tall immortal king breathed easy hearing this voice. He glared at Yemo and his face went cruel. He knew this powerful immortal king was dead. Yemo immediately said in contempt, "I'm going to kill him." "What are you going to do?" "Huh?" Before the person landed, he already saw Yemo's look. He didn't look carefully who started a conflict with the tall immortal king. Only an immortal king would have a conflict with an immortal king. He was an immortal emperor tertiary stage, and immortal kings were like insects to him. He didn't look carefully who started a conflict with the tall immortal king. Only an immortal king would have a conflict with an immortal king. He was an immortal emperor tertiary stage, and immortal kings were like insects to him. When he saw this person was Yemo, he immediately knew this wasn't someone he could mess with. He had heard of Yemo's ferocious name and seen it with his own eyes. He even asked Yemo questions. "So it's sect leader Yi." Nong Yin didn't see clearly. Yemo looked more ordinary now, but Nong Yin, immortal emperor, knew that Yemo's power grew once again. Yemo showed he was an immortal king, but who knew what his power was? Yemo admitted himself that he hid a little of his power, but who knew how much that little amount was? Yemo said plainly, "I heard you say who dares to kill your Black Lightning Emperor sect member, so I am still shaking." Despite saying that, Yemo's killing intent was soaring. Nong Yin, immortal emperor, was very awkward. "I didn't see things clearly. I believe sect leader you wouldn't take things seriously with a mere immortal king. It must be that my sect member offended sect leader Yi. If so, I won't let it go easily." Nong Yin, immortal emperor, was awkward, but his words caught Yemo. As long as a sect member didn't offend Yemo first, then Yemo can't really kill the immortal king in front of his face. Everyone was dazed. Not just Yuxiang and Yuxia, but even the tall, immortal king opened his mouth wide in shock. What was going on? Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor, was the strongest immortal emperor in Black Lightning Emperor sect. He was at the top of Jin Shang heaven. Who was EMO? A mere immortal king, and yet he dared to say such words in front of Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor. What shocked them more was Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor's reaction to such words. Was this how an immortal emperor tertiary stage talked to an immortal king? Was there some powerful backup EMO had? Even if sect leader Ye's backup was the 4 Grand Emperors, he can't be so rude to Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor. Yemo sneered, and his killing intent soared. Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor saw this and was more shocked. He didn't believe he could beat Yemo. Although Yemo and his dragon horse made Li Long, Immortal Emperor, back out, and he was a little stronger than Li Long, Immortal Emperor, but who knows if Yemo had new encounters these years. He had no confidence in beating Yemo at all. Plus, Yemo's sect also had Immortal Emperor tertiary stage. Plus, the 4 Grand Emperors weren't going to let Yemo go. Why start conflict with Yemo now? Seeing Yemo's killing intent rise, Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor, didn't dare to take things lightly. He yelled at the tall, immortal king, "What happened? If you dare to lie at all, I will turn you to dust." Seeing even his martial ancestor this concerned with Yemo, how could the tall immortal king not know that Yemo wasn't someone he could mess with? He quickly explained, "Sun Hao, Immortal King, and I saw an spirit-seeking rabbit, so we chased it but we lost it. When we found it again, we found she was roasting our rabbit, so Yemo thought they were just scamming Yu Xiong, but such thing actually existed." He subconsciously glanced at Yu Xiong. She woke up from the shock and quickly said, "Sorry." Nuan wanted to eat that rabbit as soon as he saw it. Nuan was too fast and caught the rabbit. I helped Nuan roast it. I didn't expect it tasted so good, so I ate some too. Yu Xie, Yemo, and Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor, had realized what happened. Yu Xiong indeed roasted the rabbit, but the rabbit didn't belong to the 2 Immortal King, and they used this to stop Yu Xiong. Realizing this, Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor's face sunk. "So you used this to rob her immortal range bear? Is that so?" Yes. The 2 Immortal Kings said shakily. "My bear is an immortal range bear?" Yu Xiong looked at her bear in shock. Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor, could tell the 3 already knew each other, so he said to Yu Xiong, "This is the fault of my sect members. Please forgive." Yu Xiong knew Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor, did this all because of Yemo. She didn't dare to really accept the apology and quickly bowed with Yu Xiong. "Master Nong Yin, it's Wan Bei's martial sister being naughty. I don't dare to accept such apology." Nong Yin nodded. "Your immortal range bear's level is too low. It needs a lot of time to grow. I have a feeding manual here. Have a look." Then, Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor, threw a jade slip, and Yu Xiong quickly caught it before bowing again. "Sect Leader Yi, this is the wrong of my sect member. If you have any punishment, I will support it." Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor, saluted with his fists to Yemo again. Yemo didn't really intend to kill this immortal king. Now that Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor, said this, he saluted with his fists. "Since brother Nong Yin thinks it's fine, then this will do. Hurry up and piss off." Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor, yelled to the 2 Immortal Kings. The 2 had long wanted to go. They quickly bowed to Yemo and Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor, before leaving. "Haha, so, sect leader Yi already made it out. I've been worrying. Brother He Chong has been worried about brother Yi too." Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor, acted as though the incident before didn't happen at all, and they were long-lost friends. "Brother Nong Yin, how is my sect and brother He Chong?" Yemo asked. "Brother He Chong is definitely fine. Don't worry, sect leader Yi. Feng Kong Grand Emperor has been taking care of him. Perhaps it's better to find news from Feng Kong Grand Emperor." Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor's words made Yemo's face sink. How could he not know that Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor, meant Feng Kong Grand Emperor already knew about him and didn't like him? Regardless of whether Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor, had good or bad intentions, at least he knew that Feng Kong Grand Emperor had his eyes on him, and might even take He Chong to the Grand Emperor estate. Thank you for your remind, brother Nong Yin. After things here are done, I will go visit Feng Kong Grand Emperor at his estate. Yimo said calmly. He saw in the reincarnation Tao of Tao Seeking Tower that Feng Kong Grand Emperor treated him badly in his past life, and there was a woman carrying him who was kicked down the stairs. He had to ask where that person was now. Hearing that Yimo was going to visit Feng Kong at his estate, Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor's heart skipped. He knew he was far from a match for Yimo. Realizing this, Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor, changed the topic and smiled. Does sect leader Yi have business to do at Jiakui Immortal City? Or did you bring your sect members to participate in the opening of the Jiakui Secret Realm? Jiakui Secret Realm? Yimo asked in surprise. This was the first time he had heard of this. Yu Xie quickly said, Jiakui Secret Realm is one of the biggest immortal spirit herb secret realms in the Grand Heaven domains. It has large amounts of high-level immortal spirit herb and opens every 10,000 years. Only those immortal king and below can go. I brought my martial sister here this time to go as well. Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor, nodded. That's right, there's large amounts of high-level immortal spirit herb every time. Sect leader Yi is an immortal pill Grand Master. You could buy some immortal spirit herb outside. Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor, was old and cunning. Seeing Yi Mo's slight change in expression when he said high-level immortal spirit herb, he immediately noticed what Yi Mo wanted. Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor, was old and cunning. Seeing Yi Mo's slight change in expression when he said high-level immortal spirit herb, he immediately noticed what Yi Mo wanted. Nong Xie heard this, and although not daring to ask Yi Mo, she was extremely shocked. Yi Mo was now not only Immortal King, and didn't even fear Immortal Emperor. She even heard Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor, call Yi Mo sect leader, clearly meaning that Yi Mo started his own sect. On top of that, Yi Mo wasn't even scared of the four Grand Emperor, and his own sect had Immortal Emperor too. If this was shocking enough, Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor's words that Yi Mo was an immortal pill Grand Master just turned her world upside down. Those who could be called Immortal Pill Grand Master could at least concoct level 7 Immortal Pill. How long has it been since Yi Mo reached the Immortal Realm? Even if he was constantly concocting pills, he wouldn't be able to reach level 7 Immortal Pill Grand Master. Haha, okay, I will definitely go buy Immortal Spirit Herb. Yi Mo laughed. It wasn't that he couldn't reach level 9 Immortal Pill Grand Master, but that he didn't have large amounts of level 9 Immortal Spirit Herbs. Without it, he couldn't practice it. It was fine that he couldn't go into Jiakui Secret Realm. He could buy things from outside. With his current power, who would dare to stop him buying Immortal Spirit Herb? Reaching level 9 Immortal Pill Grand Master was extremely important to Yi Mo too. He had Emperor Carrot. If he didn't reach level 9 Immortal Pill Grand Master, he couldn't concoct Taiwei Emperor Return Pill. His cultivation level was stuck now, but if he reached Immortal Monarch Peak Stage, the first thing he would do was to concoct the Emperor Pill. Plus, his Emperor Pill lacked a few supplementary Immortal Spirit Herbs. He needed to buy them too. Sect Leader Yi, I stay at Black Lightning Immortal Tower. If Sect Leader Yi just came, you can come stay there. Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor, invited. Yi Mo could tell that it was their own Immortal Tower. He waved his hand. I still have some business. We can meet when the secret realm opens again. Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor, saw this and saluted with his fists before leaving. Since Yu Xie was this familiar with Jiakui City, Yi Mo planned to ask her, so he didn't ask Nong Yin, Immortal Emperor, about the auction. Yi Mo, how did you suddenly reach Immortal King and you're not scared of Immortal Emperors? Yu Xiang immediately asked. Yu Xiang, I told you not to be so rude. Yu Xie reproached. Yi Mo waved his hand to Yu Xie. He didn't like people like her. He would rather talk more to Yu Xiang. I just had some fortune. Yi Mo was then prepared to ask about Nye Shuang Shuang. Yu Xie seemed to know how Yi Mo felt, and said without being asked, when I woke Nye Shuang Shuang, I took her out once and she was taken away. Who is it? Yi Mo's face sunk. He thought that finding Yuxie meant he would be able to see Nie Shuang easily. He didn't have to take her away, but he had to see her at least. Yuxie quickly explained, "It's the Ice God Palace's second palace lord. She happened to come to Middle Heaven Domain and saw Nie Shuang. She immediately wanted to take Nie Shuang in as disciple. I didn't dare to say anything to the immortal god body, so I could only watch them take her away. At least Ice God Palace is an emperor's sect. It's better than having Shuang stay with me." Ice God Palace? Yi Mo immediately thought of the conflicts between him and the Ice God Palace. He killed the palace Lord Lang Yin at the Heartless Sea. Plus, he got a small blue bead word in the Ice God Forbidden Grounds. There was an extremely beautiful woman in there called Qing Ru. Even now, Yi Mo still hasn't seen a woman with more perfect body than hers. Even Zhen Bingyu was at most on par with her. Thinking of Zhen Bingyu's perfect body, Yi Mo's heart rustled a bit. He shook his head. He had been with her for so long, and she even completely undressed in front of her and said she was willing, but he rejected her. Now that she wasn't with him, he was instead missing her. Yuxie was a woman and caught Yi Mo's daze and expression. She believed the two were lovers. Thinking about this, she said, "The three palace lords of the Ice God Palace are all immortal emperors. It's said there's also a grand immortal emperor. They're a top-level emperor sect in Qingwei Heaven." "Ice God Palace is in Qingwei Heaven?" Yi Mo asked in shock. Yuxie immediately answered, "Ice God Palace is a complicated sect. They have sects in the low and middle heaven domain, but then they disappeared. Only the grand heaven domain sect remains, and they rarely come out into the world." "An emperor sect would have annihilated branches?" Yi Mo asked in confusion. Yuxie explained, "At first, they only took in female disciples, but later started to take in male disciples. Their cultivation method is very unique, and male and female disciples started to cultivate together, causing some complications." Yi Mo didn't ask. He knew these complications meant lust. The original Ice God Palace is sacred and clean, but because of this situation, it made Ice God Palace no different to Demon Joy sect. Due to this, internal conflicts erupted, and this caused Ice God Palace to weaken. Yuxie clearly knew this thing clearly and continued. After that, those elders who only wanted to take in female disciples left the Ice God Palace. Then, some powerful elders left, causing Ice God Palace to greatly weaken. Because their sect location was very good, the Ice God Palace was gradually annihilated in sect battles. The Ice God Palace in Qingwei Heaven was created by the elders who left. Yi Mo asked. Yuxie nodded. Yes, those elders took away 90% of Ice God Palace's cultivation methods and heritage and established a new Ice God Palace. When the original Ice God Palace perished for countless years, the new Ice God Palace came out, but the new one was immortal emperor level. No sect dared to underestimate them. They are now a powerful emperor sect that only takes in female disciples. Where is the Ice God Palace located? Yi Mo asked. He had decided to go to Ice God Palace after this. He needed to go to Qingwei Heaven to test that Feng Kong Grand Emperor. No one knows the location of the Ice God Palace. They only know it's on top of an ice mountain in Qingwei Heaven. They detest men, and it's said if men appeared near their sect, they would be killed immediately. With their power, even Wei Feng Grand Emperor didn't want to say much. Yi Mo didn't ask about the Ice God Palace anymore. Do you know if there's an auction in the city? Yuxie breathed easy seeing that Yi Mo didn't keep asking about the Ice God Palace, because the Jiakuei secret realm is about to open in a few days. Today is the highest level auction in the city. Marshall's sister and I bought entrance tickets. It said there aren't many things, but everything is the top level items. Yi Mo immediately realized that purple robes really went to every big auction. Tonight, he had to get that stone stool. Yi Mo gave an extreme great immortal sword to Yuxie. Thanks for saving Shuang. This is for you. Then he gave a jade bottle to Yuxiang. Hope you can reach Immortal King soon. And I need to go to the city now. After the secret realm opens, I'm going to buy Immortal Spirit Herb at the gate. If you get Immortal Spirit Herb inside, you can sell it to me. Then Yi Mo turned and disappeared. Marshall's sister, why is this EMO this wealthy? He casually gave you an extreme grade immortal artifact. I think he wants to thank you for saving that Nye Shuang Shuangs. Yu Xiang looked at the extreme grade immortal artifact in admiration. Marshall's sister, why is this EMO this wealthy? He casually gave you an extreme grade immortal artifact. I think he wants to thank you for saving that Nye Shuang Shuang. Yu Xiang looked at the extreme grade immortal artifact in admiration. Yu Xie's face went red. She said EMO would stop at golden immortal and gave him some pills and measly amount of immortal crystals, but now EMO gave her an extreme grade immortal artifact. This was irony to the extreme. She didn't know that this extreme grade immortal artifact to EMO was about the same as 10,000 low-grade immortal crystals that she gave to EMO. Instead, the thing EMO gave Yu Xiang was more valuable. After admiring her martial sister's extreme grade immortal artifact, Yu Xiang opened her jade bottle too. When she saw the immortal pill inside, she was dumbfounded and subconsciously exclaimed, "E King pill." Yu Xiang was also dazed. She quickly grabbed the jade bottle and found it was a E King pill, a special grade one. "Pack it up quickly, we need to go." Yu Xie subconsciously looked around and quickly grabbed Yu Xiang, followed the direction EMO disappeared at. The biggest merchant tower in the Jacques Immortal City was the Xianlan Merchant Tower. The square at its door was filled with people. The Jacques secret realm was about to open. Many people came to participate in the auction, but its caliber was extremely high. The entrance fee was 100K. Many people didn't want to pay that much. That amount could be used to buy a lot of things. These immortals set up all sorts of stalls outside the merchant tower to trade things, forming a popular temporary marketplace. When EMO came to the entrance, the ordinary tickets were sold out. Only 500K immortal crystals front row seats were left. As for rooms, they were bought out by the sects coming here. EMO didn't care. He just paid 500K immortal crystals and bought a front row seats. He came to this auction only to buy that stone stool. Other than this, he wouldn't care about anything else. He would only buy if there was level 9 immortal spirit herb, but EMO knew that this auction was before the opening of the secret realm, so there would probably be less immortal spirit herbs. For hours later, the auction commenced. EMO went in first. He knew that if the purple robe man was going to fish, the stone stool wouldn't be coming out later on. That purple-robed immortal emperor wasn't going to waste much time here for it. There almost wasn't much difference between the 500K ticket and 100K ticket. Only the seat was more front and had a few simple blinds. These blinds couldn't even stop spirit sense. The auction grounds were huge. People sat on all sides. The stage was at the center, and its area was huge. There were formations on the side. Just the ticket earnings for this time was 10 billion. EMO knew he wouldn't be staying in here for long, but he didn't care. This was his first time sitting in the hall of an auction. If it was before, he wouldn't dare to do this. Sometimes power could save you a lot of trouble. If one left the auction in the hall during the middle, then almost everyone could see, but if you were in a room, no one would know. People entered the auction grounds in an orderly fashion. People rarely used spirit sense to scan around. No one coming to the auction was a simple character. They hated people scanning around with spirit sense. EMO wasn't going to scan with his spirit sense. Since that purple-robed immortal emperor came to Jacques Immortal City, he was probably here for the auction. 5 minutes later, everyone had come in and the gates closed. In the center was a seductive, great eternity immortal. She didn't wear much, but her clothes wrapped her body perfectly. Immediately, she became the center of attention. "Thank you, Qian Bais, for coming to our Xianlan Merchant Tower for the auction. I'm the auctioneer for today, Han Yin." After this, an extremely powerful spirit sense swept the entire scene. This spirit sense scanned on EMO, and EMO immediately knew that this person was an immortal emperor tertiary stage. Everyone knew what this meant. There was an immortal emperor guarding this auction. Everyone on the auction had to follow the rules or suffer the consequences. But no one who came to the auction was stupid. No one would start trouble here. After that spirit sense wave, Han Yin smiled. This auction will have a mysterious item. It's one of the top items in the entire immortal realm. Han Yin believed that everyone would want it after seeing it. After saying this, even Yemo wanted to know what it was. This woman really knew how to entice people. Just when everyone hoped for her to say what the item was, she changed her tone, but this item will be coming later on. Please wait patiently, everyone. The first item of the auction today will be an emperor with blue fruit. This item is very hard to see in the immortal realm, and it can allow an immortal emperor to break through a level without no side effects. Han Yan's words immediately made some people excited, especially those immortal emperors and immortal monarchs. Even this fruit wasn't the top item. Just how amazing was that top item? Hearing this, Yemo was shocked. He didn't expect it to only be the start and there to be such an item. There were some immortal emperors in the Grand Heaven Domain, but there weren't that many. One Heaven Domain had about 10 to 20. A powerful Heaven Domain would have no more than 50. What shocked Yemo the most was that someone recognized this fruit. He could recognize it due to Kai Mi's jade slip. Now that someone else recognized it too, then it meant other divine emperors saw this fruit. People started bidding immediately, and the bids clearly came from the rooms. The price soon reached 5 billion immortal crystals and an extreme grade immortal range. Even ordinary monarch sects wouldn't be able to afford this price, the extreme grade immortal range part. But Yemo knew that this price wasn't high for people who went to that palace. Eventually the price settled at that. This was mainly because Yemo took almost all the extreme grade immortal ranges off the immortal emperors. Now that these immortal emperor came back to the immortal realm, of course they would use the immortal ranges for their cultivation home and sect. Yemo was certain that this immortal emperor paying this extreme grade immortal range definitely came from the palace, or he wouldn't be this wealthy. I will be auctioning the second item now. The Great Eternity, immortal female, immortal purposely stopped for a while and gathered everyone's attention before she continued. The second item is a half-god artifact, a defensive one. Yaolang Abyssal Mist Seal. The starting price is 200 million immortal crystals. Each increment must be no less than 10 million. Then, the Great Eternity, immortal female, immortal raised a palm-sized seal. It had this faint mist surrounding it. It was obvious this seal wasn't ordinary. Yemo could see that too, but he didn't want to buy it. He had a broken octagonal cauldron. If he repaired it, it was a god artifact and one much stronger than this seal. Then, the Great Eternity, immortal female, immortal raised a palm-sized seal. It had this faint mist surrounding it. It was obvious this seal wasn't ordinary. Yemo could see that too, but he didn't want to buy it. He had a broken octagonal cauldron. If he repaired it, it was a god artifact and one much stronger than this seal. Many people bought it on this item, and the price soared from 200 million to 500 million, and was eventually bought by someone in a room. The subsequent items were all beyond Yemo's anticipation. Even he didn't expect the items would be of such high caliber. Although there were a few things Yemo wanted, he resisted the urge to buy. Before acquiring the stone stool, he didn't want to do anything to garner attention. Yemo noticed that the things were getting better and better, and clearly other people noticed this too. The auction was getting more and more heated. Level 8 runes, level 8 immortal pill, and even one level 9 beast core. Other people were getting more and more excited, but Yemo was getting more and more anxious. According to his estimates, the stone stool should be out now, but it was nowhere to be seen. Yemo thought about the man giving up on this fishing tactic. After all, it was no secret now, but this was the best method for him. Since there was such a huge auction here, and the purple-robed man was here, why hasn't the stone stool appeared yet? If it wasn't that he might offend everyone, Yemo even wanted to scan all the rooms in this auction with his spirit sense. I believe everyone is very happy with this auction, but I need to tell everyone that the climax is just about to begin. The next item is the mysterious item I spoke about. Before I show it, please allow me to introduce it. This Great Eternity, immortal female, immortal used tactics to gather attention on her again before saying, everyone knows that in the immortal realm, What decides how high one can reach is whether they have a good cultivation method or not, and cultivation resources or fortunes. But these are secondary. I believe everyone knows the main reason. That's right, immortal spirit root. Without a good immortal spirit root, no matter how much resources and fortunes you have, you can't reach higher levels. Immortal spirit root is settled after conversion to immortal essence. Who can change it? Is there an item that can change immortal spirit root being auctioned? Someone asked immediately. When cultivators ascended to the immortal realm, their spirit root would convert to immortal spirit root. Usually, the element of the spirit root wouldn't change, but during the conversion process, many people would get impurities, causing a prodigy in the cultivation realm to become an ordinary person in the immortal realm. Of course, some people would get better immortal spirit root after the conversion. These people are highly sought after by the big sections. Although the immortal realm had treasures that changed immortal spirit root, they are rarer here compared to the cultivation realm. Not even immortal emperors may be able to get it, much less ordinary people. Even immortal emperors desperately needed things that could change their immortal spirit root. Seeing the atmosphere of the auction was at an all-time high. The great eternity, immortal female, immortal continued. The following item isn't an immortal spirit herb that can change immortal spirit root. Before people could ask, she continued, this is a prenatal immortal ice spirit root female, immortal whose cultivation essence hasn't converted yet. With this, the auction erupted. Prenatal meant that this was a spirit root coming with birth. At the start, one couldn't see the cultivation speed of this spirit root, but after reaching disaster transformation state, the cultivation speed would suddenly skyrocket. After ascending to the immortal realm, the spirit root wouldn't change at all. It would only get more and more pure. Because this spirit root is immortal spirit root, after ascending to the immortal realm and the cultivation essence wasn't converted to immortal essence, the spirit root could be stolen. The way to do that was simple, just one dual cultivation. However, once the cultivator started cultivating immortal realm cultivation method and converted cultivation essence to immortal essence, this would no longer work. There were other ways of taking the prenatal immortal spirit roots, but dual cultivation was the most direct and simple way. One could imagine that if a cultivator took this prenatal immortal ice spirit root away, then even the worst spirit root immortal wouldn't have to worry about cultivation speed. With such spirit root, even if you didn't have much cultivation resources, there was hope of reaching Tao. The great eternity, immortal female, immortal suddenly waved her hand, and a figure appeared next to her. An extremely beautiful woman wearing blue flowery dress appeared before everyone. Her face was pitiful, but she was clearly subjugated. Such a beautiful cultivator. Some people exclaimed. People already started asking about the price. The prenatal ice spirit root was already a huge surprise, and yet she was such a beautiful female immortal. Yimo knew all this too, and he was amazed that the auction could even obtain such a cultivator. But when Yimo saw the female immortal through the projection, his face changed. Without a thought, he tore open the formation at the auction stage and grabbed the female immortal into his arms while kicking away that great eternity immortal female immortal. This all happened in less than a second, and that great eternity immortal female immortal was kicked away, spitting blood. How dare you start trouble at our Xian Lawn Merchant Tower, Dai? A cold voice sounded, and at the same time, a powerful immortal emperor domain came down. The immortal emperor tertiary stage pressure made all the immortals here feel hard to breath. Everyone used their cultivation method to defend against such pressure, while cursing Yimo for being an idiot. Who didn't want good things? If people could rob things in an auction, then this world would be in chaos. All the good things would belong to the divine emperors. The immortal emperor didn't even attack Yimo. Yimo was a mere immortal king middle stage. He wasn't worth it. At this moment, the four immortal monarchs on the side had charged on the stage and attacked Yimo. One immortal king middle stage, but four immortal monarch attacking together. One could see how tight this auction was. Yimo sneered. His powerful immortal monarch domain expanded out, and at the same time, Zissou let out a purple ring. The ring flashed, and 4 blood arrows flew on the stage before landing on the ground. Clap! 8 claps sounded, and the 4 immortal monarchs turned into 8 pieces of bodies. No essence spirit seeped out. Clearly their essence spirit was annihilated in that strike. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.